You don't know, you damn well should know. My name is ragreynolds, and we just had some technical difficulties getting this started. I had to change the link because for some reason when I started trying to stream, oh, now I can hear myself. Shut up. There we go. For some reason I could hear myself. No, so not ignore what I'm saying. For some reason it wouldn't let me go live. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to start screen sharing. If I can find the damn button. There it is. And I'm gonna screen share. Where the hell? Oh, there it is. Share. Okay. And we are going to watch this. I'm gonna take this out of here. Oh God, which thing is it looking at? I've never screen shared on Hangouts before. Hold on. I need to make sure it's on the.
It was fine.
There it is, the debate one.
It was fine.
Okay, there we go. Right, so I'm going to start playing this video, and I'm going to pay attention to the chat as well. And if anyone has any questions, then feel free to ask those questions. And basically, I'm going to look through this debate I did with Onision, and I'm going to break down my strategies, what I said, why I said what I said, and at the same time answer any questions people have about the debate, if you can call it a debate, because it wasn't really a debate. But here we go. Hopefully you guys can actually hear this nonsense. So please let me know if you can actually hear it once we start up. Okay, here we go. So can you guys hear this?
Nope.
So can you guys hear this?
Oh.
No?
Nope, just your voice.
So you can't hear this, no?
No.
Garbage. Hold on. Ugh. So terrible. Oh, there we go. That's the button. Present to everyone. Does that make it work?
It's really behind. I need to wait for you to play it.
I have no idea if you'll be able to hear this.
You need to play the video.
I'm gonna play it again. Okay, tell me, can you hear this? I have no idea.
You need to play the video.
Okay, tell me, can you hear this?
No.
Okay, you still can't hear that?
No.
Oh God, where the hell did I set this up properly? This is a very big fail. Hold on, let me see.
Congratulations.
Studio. Oh God, I don't know if that's a... I do not know what I just did, but I did something. Oh, this is not working very well. As far as the question goes, I asked about black feminism and white feminism, and then, yeah, he didn't really have much of a response to that, so I decided to just be like, what did I say? I pretended that I didn't say it because he didn't really have a response to that, so I was just trying to piss him off a little and confuse him, and it kind of worked because he was like, what? Are you okay? So, yeah, that did work. I'm just trying to... I have no idea why... Oh fuck, what did I click? Go away. I am a Hangouts noob. Okay. Settings. Oh, stop with that test sound. Okay. I don't want a camera on.
Should really have tested this.
I should have, but I didn't have enough time because the thing started fucking up. I would have tested it. But then the link was all messed up and I couldn't get that to work. And now, oh, I hate hangouts.
Wasn't there like a? It was like a Google Hangout, but it was for people to watch movies and stuff together.
Oh, Rabbit.
Yeah.
Ah, there you go. That's no, because then that doesn't matter because then I still can't. I
Can I
wouldn't
not
be
work on
streaming
YouTube?
the audio of that. Normally, I've done this before. I don't know why it's.
Like even I can't hear the audio in the Hangout.
Yeah, I know. That's because I'm just screen sharing, but I don't know why it won't let me. Has anyone got any idea how to do this garbage?
I'm not even looking at the chat. I really should be. I can't even find it.
Oh, I really don't. I need to think a second. This is a complete failure.
I can't even get to it. Oh, it's in subscriptions. It's not
Okay,
on your
what I'm
channel,
going to
but
need
it's
to
in the
do.
sub box.
What I'm going to need to do is I'm going to need to unplug headphones and play it through my microphone, and then, as long as you're not speaking, then it'll be fine.
Okay, I'll just shut up. I'll just mute.
Okay, I'm going to play it through my microphone. It'll be fine.
Yeah, I'll type in the chat.
Since that is obviously the best course of action. Oh, fuck, I dropped my microphone. Okay. Now let's see how easy you can hear this.
Someone who actually has a spine. Appreciate that.
Okay.
For,
Let me know if you can hear this one.
Being willing to go with what you actually know and not stuff that you take 4 years to Google or something. Can you guys hear the chill music?
Yeah, let me know how that sounds if you can hear that. Yeah, okay, you can hear. Perfect. Right, I'm going to skip into where I come in. We can get this done now. That was a shit show. Okay. Around here.
Hi, Rag.
Well, I just want to... Well, before we get into it, right, let me just explain something here. So I went into this debate, and I was thinking, okay, there's a couple of ways this could go. This could go in the way where he tries to take it a bit more serious, or he could be a bit more lighthearted and fun about it. I've done streams with Onision before, and I've never been horrible or nasty or anything, so I think he was expecting me to be very helpful and relaxed and easy. So I think I had that to my advantage going in. I don't think he quite expected the approach I was going to take. So I went in thinking, okay, I'll start off being a bit serious. I'll maybe try and make a couple of points, and we'll see how he reacts to those points. As we will see, I did make a few points. I tried to make a few points, but anytime I brought up something, he just basically dismissed it. And he said, like I brought up the wage gap at one point, and he said, I don't want to talk about the wage gap. I'd rather talk about important issues. So, which I would consider the wage gap to be a very important issue to talk about, and whether it's a big thing or it's a big deal, whether it's real or not. So he just kind of dismissed that, and that was one of the big points that you always tend to hear feminists and stuff spouting. So I was quite disappointed, and then there was the rape statistic thing, and I brought that up, and he didn't really have an answer to what I said about that. So after those couple of points I made, I decided, you know what, let's just fuck around, since he really doesn't have anything of substance to debate me about. He just kind of wants to sit back and be relaxed and joke. He wasn't there for a serious debate, so I decided, why not fuck around? So without postponing this anymore, I'm going to start it.
I want to first say, before we go any further, because I keep getting tweets from people, and I keep saying tweets.
Let me know if this is too loud.
People are saying, why have you got this guy who was a moderator for you?
Sorry, hold on one second.
Yeah, let me know if this is too loud.
I'll just tell the people watching.
That was very rude of him, by the way, to just stop there. I was trying to speak to him. I was trying to tell him something very important, and he just decided, no, we're not listening to that right now. I'm going to just walk off and do whatever I'm going to do. He could have at least waited until I'd finished talking about what I was talking about.
Since apparently they don't really care about what you have to say anyway. yeah, I'm not any fan of Onision. I'm also not a hater of Onision. And why is he laughing?
What's up?
Hello. I was just saying, I wouldn't consider myself a fan or a hater.
Yeah, I know. You're kind of like, I figured it was valid because like you've had moments where you've been a total like dick, like like the hijacking of my forums or whatever. That was a dick move. Yeah, you've been beyond a hater at some point.
I mean, I tend to think I don't hate you. I don't like you. I hate or I like actions.
All right, let's go through your problems with feminists.
Okay, well, I mean, there was this whole thing about preparation to start with, and people kept saying to me, "I hope you're prepared for this," and I kept saying, "Prepare? It's only Onision." Like,
yeah, it's not like you're going to with an actual intellectual.
I mean, I like how he kind of he acknowledges that he's not very intelligent on this matter. He's not very well educated about what he's about to talk about. So I don't know why he even suggested the topic if he didn't think he was very smart or knowledgeable about it. But that's beside the point. Hopefully we can get something important here.
They act like I am, but
it's like everybody acts so scared. Like, oh man, I better have someone come with me and hold my hand through this because he might completely make me go to the hospital or something. Like he's gonna really wound me deep. It's like, chill out, dude. It's a conversation. Like, okay. I just don't get it. I don't get why anyone would be afraid to just have a conversation. And people are like, because you'll call them the C word. It's like, you've never been called the C word? Like, even if I did, you've never been called that? Call it back. If someone calls you the C word, just, belt it back at them and then...
Yeah, it is a bit silly how he tends to think everyone's afraid of him. I mean, he's clearly not even listened to what Mike and Actor said. I mean, for anyone who doesn't know, basically, he was supposed to be debating this Mike and Actor guy who makes a bunch of videos about Onision. And he had said that, yeah, Onision had refused, wanted him to debate him right now, basically. And Mike and Actor said, no, I'll do it in 3 months. Because if you do it in 3 months, then that'll prove that you're actually serious about wanting to debate me, and it's not just that you want the attention. It's not just that your channels are dying or anything like that. So Onision threw a bitch fit and said, you're running scared type thing. And he just wanted someone to debate him right now. So I emailed him and I said, I'll debate you and choose any topic you want that we disagree on. Here's a few different ones. I gave him a list of 3 or 4 different topics I knew we were opposed on. And he said, okay, we'll do feminism. And that's how that happened. If anyone else has any questions during this about what happened, then just put them in the chat and I will answer them.
It's equal power. It's words, man. I mean,
okay, are you afraid of a tangent?
Are you afraid of words?
Are you avoiding the subject here, Craig?
No, let's get to it. I was asking about your...
He does tend to do that. He tends to avoid the subject at first anyway. I mean, he did go on a little bit of a tangent there. I'm like, why are we talking about this? And he did that a few times. I mean, I ended up doing that to him a lot, but I was just trying to annoy him type thing and provoke and piss off his audience. But he did tend to like stray off entirely. I mean, there was one point where he brought up my diet and about eating meat and shit. I was like, what are we talking about? Why are you bringing up my diet in the middle of this feminism debate?
So a lot of people have problems with feminism. I've never really understood it because, like, what did feminism ever do to you? So I'd like to hear your input.
Well, I would say.
So at this point, this was where I was trying to be a bit serious. I was trying to make some points. So this is what happened here.
The first thing I would say, okay, to you, what would you say feminism is? How would you?
So obviously, to start off, I kind of wanted to. I kind of know his stance on feminism, but it's been a while since he made a video about it. So I kind of wanted to hear it from the horse's mouth, shall we say. I wanted to hear how he felt right now. Later on in the debate, I asked him if he still identified as a feminist, which he said no, and then he changed it to a yes. But yeah, at this point, I was just trying to get a feel of what he was going to be like throughout this. And why did he bring up my diet? We'll get to that. I don't remember the exact context and why he brought that up, but he did bring it up.
Feminism is responsible for women being able to vote.
Sure, but that was in the past. What is it doing right now is what I'm asking.
The problem with Greg is he likes to make very vast generalizations like this. I mean, it's as simple as feminism got women to vote. And then later on he says, feminism is the reason we have abortions. Feminism is the reason women have rights. And I'm like, okay, there might be an element of truth to the fact that feminism helped women get equal rights. There might be an element of truth to the fact that feminism helped women get the right to vote and all this sort of stuff. But it's not the sole reason. I mean, are you trying to say that society in general are just horrible and sexist, and they still would be sexist to these days, to this day? I mean, are they always going to be sexist? I like to think that people are decent for the most part, and especially these days, people have got more progressive values and opinions, and people have grown to accept that women and men should be treated fairly, they should be treated equally. So I don't think feminism is as big of a factor as Greg thinks it is. He thinks that without feminism, women would have nothing, essentially, and I think it kind of tells you why he is so adamantly against anyone who is anti-feminism. I mean, it's something I meant to bring up during the debate that I never did, was Greg actually never spoke to me for 6 months. 6 months. Maybe it was a bit longer, maybe it was a bit less, but he didn't speak to me for about 6 months because I told him I was against feminism. It was basically that simple. Me and Hannah, if she's still in the chat, he wouldn't speak to me. He blocked us both. He banned us both from his forums because of that, and it was ridiculous. And yes, Gavin, he has said multiple times he is proudly sexist against men. He has called himself a radical feminist, a feminazi, on numerous occasions, and he has said that he feels women are superior to men in most ways. He has even in videos said that he believes that women should have more rights than men in regards to custody and stuff like that, and that's a debate that you can have, but he thinks that women should have more rights than men, apparently. I mean, that's probably all bullshit. I mean, I've had conversations with Billy in the past, and she's told me that most of his views on feminism are a lot of horse shit, and he's just trying to seem progressive. But yeah, I don't know how much truth there is to that.
Well, there's I'm sure many issues that women have. Like, for instance, a lot of women can't go topless in public still. I'm sure feminism would help them do that. Like, they could get arrested for showing the same amount of skin as a guy could.
What I meant to bring up at this point was, yeah. Oh wait, I'll play the clip first.
Okay, that's a valid point. Yeah, but is that really something that you're going to have a whole movement over just because you want to go topless? Is that really a big deal?
Well, also we have.
Okay, so because he moved on from that point, I never really got a chance to say it, but personally, I don't see a problem with women if they were to go topless, but I think that I don't think it's right to compare it to a man going topless. I think there is a difference, and the difference is the fact of breasts. And I mean, most men treat breasts kind of like the way they treat genitals. I mean, it's basically as if women have another sexual organ on the top half of their body. I mean, obviously it's not a sexual organ, but a sexualized part of the body, far more so than a man's torso would be. So I think the main reason for that is just because men tend to find the breasts attractive. And I mean, you don't want to have, the arguments obviously are that you don't want to distract men and all this sort of stuff. I do think that if it was something you saw all the time, people would become desensitized to it. I think people would stop really caring about it. But I do think it's silly to make this a women's rights issue, because I really don't think it has anything to do with women's rights. I think it is entirely to do with just people, the way they view women going topless because they've got breasts.
We have a lot of women's marches.
Oh, and yes, I think he calls himself bisexual now. He used to call himself pansexual, I think. I wish he still did. I would have debated him about that. But yeah, he says he hates men compared to women. I mean, I can tell you a story about one time on his forums a few years ago, and he actually took away mod powers from all of the males on the forum, and only left the females with power, because he said that men could not be trusted and they fuck him over every single time.
As of late, have you noticed that?
I have. I think for the most part they're pretty stupid, if you ask me.
Well, I mean, we could always do a little bit of research to find out what the women's marches are actually about, right?
Well, I think most
Like for
men.
instance, certain medical coverages for women not being covered.
Okay, but I don't think that's just a women's issue. I mean,
And also, have you noticed how many men have been called out for sexually assaulting women? Like,
See, right. So first here, the whole debate's supposed to be about feminism, which by his own admission is about the advocacy of women's rights, okay? So if we're talking about women's actual rights, why are we talking about what certain healthcare providers are providing to women? I mean, as I go on to mention, some healthcare providers might not provide certain things and other ones will. I mean, that's just to do with the way that the healthcare system works. It's probably just because the healthcare system is in shambles and it's a terrible system. I don't think it's anything to do with women's rights or women being treated badly. It's nothing. It's not a feminist issue. But then he suddenly goes on to start talking about men being called out for sexual assault. So I don't really see. He's not really bringing up anything tangible that we can actually properly dive into. If you notice here, he's kind of bringing up these very broad subjects. So when he brings up women in these cases can't get medical coverage for birth control, for example, whereas men can get it for Viagra. He's not being very specific. He's just making this very vague claim that I'm sure there is some evidence to back up, but I'm sure there's also evidence against that. I'm sure there are lots of companies and insurance plans that give women birth control and don't give men Viagra. I mean, who knows? It's too broad of a stroke, and it's not anything that's like a legal thing. I mean, if you've got a private company providing you health insurance, then that's their choice what to provide you. You can't then advocate for the government to step in and tell them what they can and can't provide you in their service. And yeah, Viagra shouldn't be compared to birth control. Yeah, the most honest YouTuber. His own logic. He's called himself fake in numerous videos as well. I mean, have you seen that there's a compilation of him? I can't remember who made it, but I think I saw it on Twitter. Someone made a compilation and it's basically him saying, I am the most honest YouTuber. And then he says in another video, if someone has to keep telling you they're honest, it probably means that they're not usually honest. And then it basically goes back and forth and there's all these different clips of him saying both of these phrases, and there's maybe 100 of them. So it's just him contradicting himself nonstop. So, okay, does that mean you're not normally honest, Greg? Then why are you saying you're honest?
Yeah, I have. It's turned into a bit of a witch hunt, don't you think?
No. A witch hunt actually involves innocent parties typically, and it seems like most everybody.
Did you see the Aziz Ansari stuff?
See, you also see here, I mean, I'm sure a lot of the people being accused of these yeah, it might have been Aldi. But yeah, I think a lot of these things with these men being accused of sexual assault, I'm sure a lot of them are true. A lot of the guys have kind of admitted it and kind of just backed off from the public light. I mean, Kevin Spacey, for example, he didn't really deny the claims. He said, "Oh, I don't remember," and then he went to like sex therapy and shit. But then there's some others who did deny it. But Greg is basically saying almost everybody they're all guilty. That's basically what he's saying here. They're saying they're not innocent. But none of them have actually been proven to be guilty, other than a few of them that have maybe admitted it. I mean, you're presuming guilty before innocence, and I mean, there's no issue with supporting victims. I'm all for that, and you should support and you should listen to what people have to say, and you should help them through their difficult time. But you shouldn't cast blame and aspersions on the people who have been accused of this thing without actually getting any evidence or without anything like that. I mean, you're ruining people's lives, you're ruining people's careers. I mean, this is something for the legal system to work out, not for the public to go on witch hunts. Yeah.
Yeah, the Aziz thing.
That really is. I might actually pull up that video. If someone links me that video in the chat, I will actually play that video just as soon as someone links me it.
Based on what I saw, he apologized right away and clearly didn't know that she wasn't comfortable. And so, like, once he realized she wasn't comfortable, he apologized right away. That's my understanding of it.
Yeah, it seemed like it was just an awkward
and also,
thing.
What's his name? Louis C.K. Apparently, he asked these women. This is just what I know. He asked these women if he could show them his junk, and then they said yes, and then he did it, and then they were like mad about it. That's what I understand. And I'm like, I was kind of like, Wait, he asked first though? Like he got the clearance of an adult to do this, and the adult said yes. So like yeah, those are a couple things that are like super not cool. But there's countless examples of incidents that are not witch hunts, where they actually are totally
Okay, of course.
like what former CEO of Fox or whatever, or Bill Cosby, of course. Like there's a lot of women
What
who
did Bill
have
Cosby do?
drugged women and then slept with them.
This is where I was trying to be. I was trying to just play dumb. I just wanted to kind of see what he did. So I just pretended I had absolutely no idea who Bill Cosby was. Well, not who he was, but what he did. I mean, obviously I knew what Bill Cosby was accused of. It was a huge scandal. But yeah, I can't. Oh, posting links isn't allowed?
Can we try and find it, please?
Yeah, I'm looking for it. Hold on. ALDDI. Okay. Filters. I want channels. Why is it not giving me channel? Oh, there we go. Is he a YouTuber? Yeah. I can't find this at all. What was the video called? Can someone tell me what it's called?
I think I got it.
Oh,
I think.
hold on. I'm searching for it online. I found it. Okay, got it. I'm going to play this video before we go any further.
You know who has to point out that they're about to be really honest? People who aren't normally honest. Hello, I am Onision, the most honest YouTuber, or maybe one of the most honest YouTubers. I don't know of anyone more truth-telling than me. I'm one of the most honest YouTubers, if not the most honest YouTuber. Some people consider me to be the most honest YouTuber. One of the most honest YouTubers on the internet. The most honest YouTuber. There's a reason people call me the most brutally honest YouTuber. It's because I fucking am. I'm the most brutally honest, popular YouTuber. Hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people know me to be the most brutally honest YouTuber. You're being talked to by one of the most honest YouTubers on YouTube. If you're gonna fuck with someone, don't fuck with one of the most honest people on YouTube. Self-proclaimed. We'll say. Other people call me it too. But self-proclaimed, one of the, if not the most honest YouTubers. Okay, I'm extremely painfully honest. It hurts sometimes. So when you don't trust the proclaimed most honest YouTuber, one of the most honest YouTubers, you see how honest I am? I'm just flowing the facts. I do appreciate my transparency, my honesty. I am transparent. I am honest. I have all the facts, and you guys don't really have much of anything. Hey, I'm an easy on fact machine. You know my song, honest girl.
Fact machine is. Oh, fact machine. That's the that's the best. That's the best one.
Okay, or some call me the fact machine. I have a much greater ally than you, which is facts. I'm going to show you numerous documents that prove I have been honest. You see, people, this is what honesty sounds like. This is what honesty sounds like, okay? Don't be mad. Well, I am honest. It's not a perverted thing. It's honesty. You know that I'm honest, or at least a lot of you know that I'm honest. I am naturally very, very honest. I'm an extremely honest person. I am an extremely honest person. And I'm an honest person. I'm a bluntly honest person. A bluntly honest YouTuber. I'm being...
Okay, I think we get the point. Oh, and I actually completely forgot to tweet the link to this stream, so I'm going to do that right
Congratulations.
now. Okay. So, we were at this point, and I was pretending I had absolutely no idea about the Bill Cosby thing, just to see if I could kind of get a reaction out of him.
Oh, that thing.
Oh, that like it was like 60 women or something.
Yeah, that. Okay.
Yeah, it was a ton of women, and like that
I
stuff.
never heard about that.
That stuff doesn't come out as much about.
And as you can see, that's my signature eye roll. That's usually how you can tell if I'm that's the biggest tell if I'm being serious or not. I will eventually roll my eyes.
Men being victims of women. So you would think that because there's a disproportion, you would need female activists, or not female activists, but people being activists for females.
Well,
So,
I mean,
so they in court can have more rights and not feel afraid to come out for being victims or whatever, and actually have a society that takes them seriously rather than a society that craps all over them and saying you don't get treated poorly, even though they've never seen.
well, I mean, though, but
like
like,
they've never seen a rape statistic in their life or something.
And this is where I bring up rape statistics. Yeah, he's he backed out of the Mike and actor thing. Well, it wasn't even he backed out. He I don't think he's very patient, and I think he just wanted it now. He didn't want to have to wait for it. He wanted it now, and Mike and actor wouldn't give him it now, so he threw a bit of a bitch fit.
Do you know about rape statistics though?
Are you going to say that they're made up or something, or what?
Well, I mean, there's the whole.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm basically about to tell him.
There's the feminist myth that 1 in 4 women are raped in like college campuses and stuff. That's a complete lie.
No, what? Sorry, say that again.
Have you never heard the phrase that feminists like to toss around? 1 in 4 women are raped.
It's really complicated to actually say, how many are, because so much.
Do you know where that?
So much goes underreported. So even if it's 1 in 10, that's still way too.
Oh yeah, of course it's way too many. But there were some studies I've seen done, and the real number is around 1 in 54 or something like that.
It is around 1 in 54. I can't remember the exact number. It might even be the high 40s or something.
I personally doubt that, because almost every single person that I've been a friend of or whatever, they've come out to me saying, yeah, I was violated by so and so.
So he's basically saying that every single woman he has ever been friends with has told them that they've been raped. And maybe that is true. Maybe that is. But his personal experiences does not account for the rest of the world or the rest of the country. Yeah, I think he was acting cam so he could say he didn't need a moderator or whatever. I don't know. I'm not sure. I mean, he's always quite cam with me. I think it's because he can't quite tell when I'm being serious or not. So I don't think he wanted to overreact in case I wasn't being serious. But at the same time, he ended up getting a overreact a few times. He did take the bait quite a lot. But I think he stayed calm simply because he knows me. We've got a bit of a long history. I've known him for 7 years. I've been in contact with him for a little while, and we've done some streams before. And I've always been quite relaxed with him. So I think he was quite relaxed going into this. He didn't expect any bait or anything. I don't know, but because of our history together, I don't think he was ever going to be not calm, really.
Like in my life, the statistic of people telling me that they were violated by someone long before I even knew them, it's like 1 in 2. So I would believe that statistic a lot less if I didn't have that experience. But I actually do believe it's 1 in 4 just based on my own personal.
This is where I give him a bit of a bombshell piece of information, because he believes that 1 in 4 women are raped, and I'll let this play out. I can't remember how coherently I made the argument. I'm pretty sure it was I didn't make it that well, but I'll go over it if I didn't.
Well, I mean, the whole thing when that number first came out, it was done on a college campus, and that's where they took the thing. But what the problem was, what they did was it was sexual assault. They said it was then 1 in 4 women are raped or whatever, but it was sexual assault. But they were including things such as unwanted sexual advances. Like if a guy was to hit on a woman and they didn't want it, they would then report that into these statistics. So eventually it ended up in 1 in 4. I mean, 1 in 4 women are raped. That's a number that rivals the Congo, where rape is used as a weapon of war. I mean, I don't think you can quite say that 1 in 4 women are raped in the US when that's the numbers in the Congo.
Okay, so a couple of things. He didn't really have much of a response to me telling him this about the Congo comparison, because when someone hears that 1 in 4 women is around the number that are raped in the Congo, I think that's a bit yeah, he might have looked up the statistics. I think that's what he was doing. He was clearly doing something on his computer there, and he looks a bit frustrated, so maybe he's Googled it and he's found, darn, he got me on that one. Darn, he was right. So I think he maybe felt a bit silly after just saying, I think 1 in 4 women do get raped. And then he's gone on to see that, oh yeah, the Congo, that terrible place where rape is actually used as a weapon of war, where yeah, so you get the point. But as people are saying in the chat, yeah, he's never really prepared, and the whole thing is a bit silly because he says we don't want to prepare for these debates. Okay, he doesn't want to prepare; he just wants to jump in there and do it. Okay, well, if you don't want to prepare, then you shouldn't be using Google when you're doing it either. I wasn't using Google. I wasn't searching for things. So why are you searching for things? I mean, it creates a little bit of a disconnect. If we're both searching for things, it slows the whole thing down. We have to stop and fact check everything as it goes on. It's not very practical. That's why you do your preparation before the debate, so that you don't have to go search these things. You've searched the things before the debate, and then you can bring up the argument. It's yeah, when he looked up feminist crowds, we'll get to that. I mean, it was, oh, that was ridiculous. He actually, I just said feminists are all fat and blue-haired, and he took it so seriously. He said, "Do you really mean that?" And I went, "Of course I mean it." And then he spent like 10 minutes looking at these fucking uh and stuff, and he's like, "Look, they're not fat. They're not got blue hair." And I'm like, "Oh, well done, Greg. You really got me there." My God.
Yeah. Well, okay. So right now, like I'm not going to argue that statistics. I don't have any concrete data due to the fact that I don't know the variables to what people would consider that. But I will say, what I've already said, which is my personal experience. But a lot of feminism has everything.
Yeah, TJ, me and Greg, we actually get on quite well for the most part. I mean, I usually tell people we're frenemies because one minute I really, really, really hate what he's doing, and the next minute I actually have a bit of respect for him. So it really depends on what it is. I mean, uh, we've got our sense of humor has been quite similar in the past and whatever, but he's not very accepting of other people and differences of opinions and stuff. I mean, as I already mentioned in the stream earlier, he stopped talking to me for about 6 months just because I told him I didn't agree with him on feminism. So that's the kind of thing that tells you. We were basically friends at that point, and then he wouldn't talk to me and he blocked me for about 6 months. And after that, I refused to say I was his friend anymore. We were just kind of acquaintances, and if I dislike something he does, I'll make it very well known that I dislike what he does. I mean, I see people in comments saying, "Oh, why are you putting Rag Reynolds in this debate with you? He used to be a mod on your forum. He's a friend, or he's a fan, or whatever." But I'm not a fan, and people say, "Oh, he's just sucking your dick." I'm not sucking Onision's dick. I have just as many videos on my channel attacking Onision, probably more attacking Onision than I do defending him, and you can check that out yourself.
To do with whether or not insurance covers certain feminine things. For instance, you apparently, based on everything I've seen, you can be covered for Viagra, and you know this. You can be covered for Viagra, but not birth control in many areas.
So this is back to the thing we were talking about earlier, I suppose.
Okay, but
on insurance, a lot of insurance.
I can understand where the frustration with that sort of thing comes from, but I mean, that's not really a feminist issue. I would say it's more of a thing.
Because you're talking about where one person has something covered, sexual organs, and the other person doesn't have something covered on the sexual.
As we said earlier, for anyone who wasn't here at the point when I talked about this specific issue speaking about right now, I believe this is not a feminist issue for the simple reason that this isn't anything legal. I mean, there are some companies who do provide birth control and Viagra. There are some probably who provide birth control and not Viagra. I mean, it's not every company does not supply birth control but supplies Viagra. I mean, he's using very vague statements here and not giving any specific examples. And if he does have any specific examples, it doesn't apply to everything. And it's, as I said, it's not a legal thing. These are private companies that are offering a service, and the government shouldn't be allowed to tell them what they must offer people. I mean, if you don't like what this company is offering you, you go find a different one. Yeah, when he was debating vegan games, I watched most of that debate, and he did say he didn't care about scientific studies. That was very silly. He was also looking up random stuff on Google in his vegan games. Yeah, he was. Yeah, that was basically it. He was doing the same to me. You can see when he's doing other things. I mean, he's clearly looking at a different screen or whatever, a different monitor.
Okay, then you demand that you find a provider that does do that. I mean, it's not like every single insurance provider is not going to do that.
Or you could just have feminists, You could have feminists.
Yeah, but what are they doing? What are they doing about it?
they're contacting Congress, calling their senators.
Yeah, they're contacting Congress and calling their senators because private companies won't give them birth control. I mean, these are private companies. You should be complaining to the private companies. You should be going and finding alternatives to those companies.
Making rallies.
Whining on Twitter.
Huh?
Whining on Twitter.
Yeah.
Peddling out false wage gap statistics.
Well,
this bit was quite telling, and it was around here where I decided, oh fuck it, I'm just going to troll the rest of the time because I knew right here he's not going to have this conversation with me.
The wage gap, I'm not going to argue either.
The wage gap, I'm not going to argue either.
I'm arguing actual issues.
He is arguing actual issues, whatever that means. What does that mean? Can someone tell me what actual issues means? I mean, if you ask most feminists, I mean, one of the biggest talking points is the wage gap. I was ready. I had all the facts with me. I actually, this is the one topic I prepared for because I was sure that he was going to take the bait there. I was sure he was going to debate me on that, but he said no. He said no. And I think it's because he knows he didn't really have anything to argue. All he had to argue were very vague statements, very broad strokes, and then he just,
not stuff that I don't know are actual issues.
Yes, that's perfect, TJ. That's what I was trying to say. He argues meme issues. Yeah, that's basically what it is. That's basically what it is. Yes, actual issues are issues that cannot be debunked by a button. Perfect, King Crobat.
Like I would see this is the problem with the female versus male in the workplace. Is that when you hire a female, a lot of people are probably worried that someone's going to get pregnant, and then they're going to need pregnancy leave or something like that. And if they're a business that's struggling, they're like, well, the government doesn't help me enough, which is where we need feminism, of course, to encourage the government to equalize everything so women have the benefit of the doubt. Because they are women and they have the
because they need to be protected. That's a very good feminist of you, Greg. Women are they're so lesser than men that they need to.
That's essentially what he was just saying. He was just saying that the government should step in and equalize things so that women can have better opportunities. I mean, as long as people have are treated fairly from the get-go, everything's fine. But the thing with Onision, he's probably the kind of guy who thinks that we should have a 50-50 split in politics. We should have a 50-50 split in, say, engineering and this sort of thing. But the problem is it's just personal choice. And oftentimes men and women want different things. I'm sure he's not advocating for a 50-50 split in childcare. I'm sure he's not advocating for a 50-50 split in nursing. I'm sure he's not advocating for the government to step in and equalize nursing with men or anything like that.
Government's help.
I mean, if I could get pregnant at any time, and
I think it's quite insulting that he thinks that the government have to step in and equalize businesses for women.
Because of that reality, I'm less likely to get a job because they're afraid of that variable, that I could get pregnant anytime and that could be a weight on the company. I think I would need feminism for that so they could balance it and I could feel like an equal human being in the eyes of the business world.
Or you just don't get pregnant and you're fine.
See, that's the...
I was being a bit I wasn't being too serious here, but that is really the case here. If you don't get pregnant, as a woman, I think a lot of the time, you come to a point where you have to decide: do you want to focus on family or do you want to focus on your career? And some people can balance both. But if you choose to get pregnant, if you choose to have a child, you're going to fall behind your male counterparts. You're going to end up maybe not getting the same raises as them. You're going to end up maybe not getting the same promotions as them. So you have to kind of balance the books. You have to choose which you want to focus on or find a good balance between them. And you can't expect the government to just say, nope, you can have it all.
You're silly. It's not that.
And yes, I completely agree. It's very, very silly. when people want the government to regulate everything. I mean, these are the people who want the government to regulate anything are the exact same people who go on about how incompetent and terrible the government are. I mean, on one minute they're saying the government is terrible and they're stupid and they can't do anything right, and then in the next minute they're saying, well, they should regulate this, this, and this. Yes, I agree, Boop the Boops. I mean, I love your name. Some things should be regulated to make sure they're safe. That's very, very fair. I mean, without any sort of government or regulation, there would be anarchy, there would be chaos. It wouldn't be very good. There are certain things that should be regulated. What those things are can be debated, and they are most certainly up for debate, and how many and to what extent, most certainly. But I'm for as little as possible. But yes, there still needs to be some things that are regulated.
That's simple, you know. Sometimes, and also, you have situations where someone might be violated. The statistics are still dramatically high against women,
but not 1 in 4, like you said.
And you may.
The last time I heard, I actually think, and this is just me talking out my ass for a second, but I think the rape statistics, I think what men actually get raped more than women on average, but that is usually by other men. I could be wrong on that, but I do remember seeing that a couple of years ago. It might have changed. Another thing to bring up, I actually have this. Oh, where is it? I've got the exact source written here, right in my book. I'm going to pick it up so I don't misquote this or read it wrong. I did get, where is it? Hold on, page 55 of my book, which you can buy currently 20% off on lulu.com. Link at the top of my Twitter. It's my pinned tweet. It's also at the top of the video description. Okay. Oh, there it is. Okay. Here is what I was going to say. So, in my book, I have a chapter, and it's called The Truth About Feminism. It's basically just a whole chapter listing out feminism things and different rights that women actually have that men do not. And what I wanted to bring up here was the fact that women have the right to call unwanted coerced sex rape. So, in the US, the original FBI definition of rape specifically identified women as the victims, excluding the possibility of male rape victims. When the FBI eventually updated this, they did it in a way so that it included only a small minority of rape victims, but still excluded most of them by retaining the penetration clause. Penetration of an orifice must occur for rape to have happened. The FBI does, however, collect another set of statistics under the category of other sexual assault. It's the awkwardly named made to penetrate category, which includes men who were coerced, tricked, or bullied into penetrative sex with women they would otherwise not have had sex with. The National Intimate Partner in Sexual Violence Survey similarly considers the two types of assault separately, despite the fact that occurrences are virtually identical. So basically the point here is that the FBI in the US classifies rape to men not as rape. They classify it as other sexual assault. It's called other sexual assault, whereas when it's a woman, they call it rape. They call it forced penetration, things like that. Whereas when it's and that's a way of discrediting it and making it not the same issue. And that's a very big deal. It's a very troubling thing.
You may not have abortion rights because there are enough feminists in your area. So.
Okay, you may not have abortion rights because there are not enough feminists in your area. That must have slipped by me. That is such an idiotic thing to say.
You don't have abortion rights, which
well,
that's an ongoing battle that requires feminism 100%. People to this day are still trying to take it.
Oh God, this is really where I started turning it up. This is where we started talking about abortion, pro-life is pro-choice. Just wait for this.
The right for women to get abortions.
I'm 100% pro-choice, okay? But I have an issue because
pro-choice exists because of feminists, dude.
But I don't think that the whole abortion thing is as much of a feminist issue as people make it out to be. You see, when people argue against,
it doesn't involve
hold on. let me make the point. Let me make the point. Then you can respond. So,
Did you like my stern talking to there? I gave him that stern talking to. You let me make that point, Onision, and then you can talk. And he did let me.
But you were doing it to him previously.
Doing what?
You were not letting him speak.
Oh yeah, but I don't care. I mean, I'm the one who told him to shut up, and he did. So I'm happy with that. If he had told me to shut up, I'd have looked him in the eye and told him to sit his ass. He's already sitting down. Ignore him. You be quiet.
Pretty much everyone who is against abortion, it's because they believe that that fetus, that cluster of cells, they believe it to be a living thing. Okay? So when feminists come along and they start being like, well, it's about women's bodies, it's their right to have an abortion, that the argument in response to that is, well, you don't have the right to kill something. Okay? No one thinks that women should not have the right to do what they want with their own bodies. The argument is that they
Try going to the Middle East.
No, well, sure, the Middle East, where they've got lovely Islam, which is one of the most oppressive ideologies in the world. But
you'll notice that he doesn't debate me on Islam. I actually suggested that as one of the topics we could debate, but he said no.
Yeah, the argument is more that they don't want murder. It's not that they don't want women to have rights. It's they don't want murder. I don't think it's murder. I'm pro-choice.
Yeah, so basically what I was saying here, the whole thing was that yeah, keep him busy looking up random crap on Google. Yeah, just have to keep throwing out claims there. But yeah, basically what I was trying to say to him there is I think there's a very big issue with people conflating oh no, you'll see, TJ. I didn't actually change my stance on pro-life. I didn't actually change that. I am pro-life. I didn't change that. But what I was trying to explain to him was that people often conflate being pro-choice with actual women's rights. They conflate abortion with specific women's rights. And yes, I suppose it is a woman's right to choose to terminate the pregnancy. Sure, that is a woman's right, but that's making it a bit too simple. The problem is no one in their right mind, in the Western world at least, no reasonable person thinks that women shouldn't have control over their own bodies. Maybe if you're like a strict Muslim or something, and you want your wife to walk behind you, and you're living in Saudi Arabia or something, sure, maybe then you don't want your wife to have her rights. But in the US, men don't care if they have women have rights. They want them to have rights. The problem is these people who are against abortion, they're not against it because they want their wives not to have rights. It's nothing to do with that. They're against it because they think it's murder. And that's the debate that needs to be had. What you need to talk about is one side thinks it's murder and one side doesn't think it's murder. It's as simple as that. And so what people should be debating is whether or not it's murder, whether or not that is an actual living, breathing thing that deserves rights. That is what we need to be debating. But instead, feminists derail the conversation by debating about, well, it's a woman's body and it's her rights. It's about women's rights. When that's not the conversation that the people against these feminists are actually trying to say. The people who are against abortion aren't talking about women's rights. You're having a completely different conversation if you're talking about women's rights, because that is not the opposing argument. The opposing argument is about murder. And if you're addressing murder talking about women's rights, you're not going to get anywhere. What you need to do is debate them about whether or not it's murder.
The issue is that this exclusively affects women. So that's why it's a feminist issue. Yeah.
But that doesn't. But I think the argument gets skewed when you start talking about women's rights in relation to abortion, because that's not the argument people are actually wanting to have.
But it exclusively involves women, so it
doesn't matter.
Greg got this very, very simple-minded way of thinking. If something only involves women, then it makes it a women's issue. And sure, it does make it a bit of a women's issue, but it doesn't make it a feminist issue. Just because something only involves women, that doesn't mean it's a feminist issue. He's conflating feminist with women, rather than realizing that women are half of the planet and feminists are a movement that people choose or do not choose to take part in.
It does, because that's what feminism is. It focuses on women and their rights. And if you take away a woman's right to abort a child, that
Yeah, the abortion thing, some of it is about murder, some of it is about sinning as well. It really, really depends. I don't see the religious debate brought up very often. I do know it exists though. But I think from personally from what I've seen, I think more of what I've seen has been about murder. And yeah, it is a boop de boops. It is a very, very much so a human issue, and I think it's a very big problem when you're bringing things up and saying this is a man's issue or this is a woman's issue. There should be no sort of thing there. It should just be this is an issue. This is a human issue. It's the same with white versus black. This isn't a black issue. This isn't a white issue. This is a human issue, and people need to stop splitting people into these categories. No, I'm not. I'm not religious in the slightest. I'm actually anti-religion. Yeah, but I'm completely pro-choice.
that ruins a lot of people's lives as far as being a victim of moral crime and not being able to abort the
Oh, of course it does.
baby of the criminal. So that's definitely, I mean, if it's exclusive to females, I would say that's definitely a feminist issue. So
Again, that's him conflating feminist with women. They're not the same thing, Greg.
abortion, pro-choice, it exists because of feminists. So, yeah, it's.
I'm not sure.
I feel like what you're doing is you're trying to detach this issue because you don't want to admit that you're actually a little bit feminist yourself.
So because I believe women should be allowed to have abortions, I'm a feminist, apparently, according to him. And this is where I was like, okay, your logic makes no sense. Time to have some fun. Time to fuck around. And that's why I said this.
I'm a little bit feminist. That is the most offensive thing you've ever said to me. You once called me
If you're
fucking retard.
pro-choice, you're a little bit feminist because you're supporting rights that directly and exclusively.
Well, I'm not pro-choice anymore. I'm pro-life.
Yep, and you can see when I said this, the chat exploded. Can I moderate the chat? I can't type without having to wait in between each sentence.
Like, can I have the crown or something that you did before? Ages ago.
Yeah, hold on.
I want to reply to everyone, but I can't because it keeps making me wait.
Okay, hold on. Okay, I'm going to keep playing this, and yeah, I'll finish what I was saying. What was I saying? Yeah. So at this point, what was I saying? Yeah, I decided, fuck what he's doing. I'm just gonna fuck with him for the rest of this thing. See what reactions I can get out of him. Okay.
Ban the abortions right now.
All right. Anyway, so I think that's it's great that you could just flip on your values like that in an instance just because you're that phobic of feminists.
No, of course. Why would I want to suddenly have blue hair, get fatter than I already am?
This is where he really took the bait. This is where he spent a long time Googling crowds. This is going to be fun to watch.
Fatter than you already are.
Yeah.
That's a stereotype. If you actually look at like a group of feminists,
If you look at most feminists, they're fat and blue-haired, and they scream and they go "ree."
Well, see, I feel like you're joking. Do you actually mean that?
Yeah, I do mean that.
All right. So let's.
If I didn't say it, I wouldn't mean. If I didn't mean it, I wouldn't say it.
Let's see.
Just Google feminist. I guarantee you, the pictures that pop up will be.
Well, I'm gonna do you one better. I'm gonna actually Google feminist crowd, so you can see not the people that people choose to focus on, but the entire group. So it's actually a little bit more realistic. But here you have a hysterical photo. I wish I could make it bigger. What if I can?
Brazilian.
I think I'll just open it in a new window. So, oh wow, that did not help me at all. I say view image and it's like, nah. So here's a feminist group, right?
Okay, so hold on, I'll keep this playing.
So we have a bunch of dudes in the audience, and I see no one with blue hair, and they look all skinny. Okay,
How do
that's
you
a
know
crowd
they're
of
feminists?
right? Let's go to
How do you
another
know they're
crowd.
feminists?
And you see me navigating through this, so we're just going, to the top things that show up as feminist. All right,
Like,
so
stop
we
picking
have
me.
we have.
So the point here was the fact that I was trying to just annoy him. I was like, "What? How do you know they're feminists? How do you know they're feminists?" And he wouldn't answer me.
Oh, we have no blue hair again, and what is that? 3 out of every. No, actually, how many is that? 3.
He really took it literally when I said they were all fat with blue hair, didn't he?
7. One person is a little bit heavy. The rest are pretty skinny. So far, your claim is completely not true. Let's try to find anyone. Let's try to find anyone else who's overweight.
What did you Google to find this?
Feminist crowd. You know.
I don't know why he googled feminist crowd. I mean, like, if I was to go and look for feminist, I'd just type feminists. Like, why is he typing feminist crowds?
No, a crowd of feminists. It's important to not look at the people that people handpick out of the group, but actually look at the whole group.
Greg, is this going back to your old format for, was it Auto when you rate the pictures?
Oh, I still do that.
Oh, you still do?
Anyway, yeah.
Okay, rate the in the front.
Anyway, so in this crowd,
Rate her in the front. Wait, if she people would.
I wouldn't let her rate it in the front. You don't get a crown unless
I'm joking.
No, the crown's for the owner of the stream. You got moderator.
Wow.
There. But yeah, so he does this thing, I'm sure everyone knows, on his Autobro channel where he takes pictures of girls, he gets them to submit pictures of themselves, and he tells them how their bodies are. He tells them if they need to lose weight, if they need to gain weight, if he finds them attractive or not. So I said, "Are you still doing that, Greg? Why are you going to rate this woman?" But he wouldn't. I wanted to know how much weight.
He ignored you.
Yeah, he was just ignoring me. You got a wrench. You should be happy.
What?
In this crowd, we have no one with blue hair, and out of the, we'll say, people there, I see only one person who's a little heavy in the work. I'm sure that's it. So she's just a little heavy, not very heavy. Just
Define collect. Yeah, that was the best one. That was during the Blair White debate, and she said, "Do you collect pictures of underage girls?" And he said, "Define collect." I actually had to pull up the definition of collect. It was hilarious.
No.
That was an actual conversation. I couldn't believe it.
With who?
Blair White.
I need to watch that.
That was so funny. I'm going to see if I can find a little clip of it. Well,
so far, I mean, do you want me to use more examples of no blue hair and a minority of overweight people? Or do you get?
I'd like to see some more evidence.
Pick the picture. You want to tell me which one to look at here?
Yeah, it was it was that point. He was like, "Have you seen enough evidence? Have you made your mind up yet? Have I proven you wrong yet?"
No.
No. I want to see more. It was.
I want you to Google just feminists.
But that's one person. I'm looking at the whole group.
No, just Google feminists, man. Just take out the crowd part.
You were joking at this point, right?
Yeah, I was.
You realized that he was right.
Yeah. Well, no, it wasn't. No, I knew he was. I mean, I know for a fact that not all feminists are fat and blue-haired. I knew that before he even made the statement. I mean, the fact that he's Googling this was the joke. It was ridiculous that he even started Googling this. I made the comment to see what he would say, just to try and get a rise out of him, and I got a huge rise. We were on this topic for about 5 minutes.
We're talking about a crowd versus a select photo. All right, so this should
go. Oh, look at this.
This is a meme. It's a meme, bro. This is what people chose. They locate one person who stands out, and they're like, "This is what I'm going to use to represent the entire group." But the problem is, these are not the representatives of the entire group.
Okay.
Yeah, the Blair debate was great because every time he tried to speak over her, she just muted him. Oh, that was hilarious.
Like just like this guy right here. He's not every feminist is a celebrity millionaire. Okay, so.
Covered in blood?
That's actual accurate representation.
Okay. Well,
he wasn't getting the fact that I was just taking the piss at this point, so I decided to say, "Greg, you can have this one. 1 point for you."
We'll leave it at that. You can have this one, Greg. You can have one win. Okay.
I feel like
What's this one?
I wanted to bring up something very important. What do you
He thought he won the pro-choice argument. He clearly didn't.
think about? What do you think about intersectionality? What do you think about intersectional feminism?
He's so much of a great feminist that he didn't even know what intersectional feminism was.
Wait. Why was he covered in paint during the debate?
Oh, he always does that for some
Body
reason.
paint? What?
He was just recording something, he says. He always says he was just recording a comedy video or whatever, and he just sits down and he starts. To be fair, I do believe that is what he was doing at the time. I mean, yesterday when we did the stream, we were supposed to do it at 4 p.m. his time, which was midnight for me. And I got an email maybe half an hour before it, and he said, "Do you mind if we do it at 4:45 my time?" So it would have been 1:45, so it was very, very late. He said, and I said, I would rather we did it at their agreed upon time because that's already quite late for me. But if you really need that extra time, then sure, I'll delay it. And he said, okay. And he said that he had some sort of patron or something that he had turned up late to a schedule thing with him or something. So he did have quite a packed schedule from the looks of it. It looked like as soon as he finished that, I saw him, he was streaming on Twitch with a patron. And then he appeared with me. And then straight away he said, I'm going to go work again. So I do think he was busy, to be fair to him.
And do you think that white women have a place in that? Do you think you can be racist to white people?
You never answered that question.
Do you think black people can be racist? Do you think that white women's feminism is problematic?
Alright, so I don't know what that is, so I'm actually Googled it. It's a term that many feminists use to explain how the feminist movement can be more diverse and inclusive. If feminism is advocating for women's rights equality between sexes, intersectional feminism is the inclusion of other things.
You see my little pretending to fall asleep there? I think a lot of people overlooked that. I was going to snore a little, but I thought that would have been a bit too rude.
Oh no, I saw that, but
I was like, because I was like, why are you reading the dictionary again, Greg?
I roll.
What's wrong with it? You tell me what's wrong with it.
I was asking you what you thought about it.
I don't think much of it. Sounds like it's a more inclusive version of feminism. Is that all you got? That's all you wanted to say about it?
Let's move on from that shit show.
Alright, more inclusive version of feminism. Alright. I guess I should
Okay, so do you still call yourself a feminist?
I like
It took a little while to get this answer out of him. He wouldn't say yes.
egalitarian because it includes all issues.
So you don't call yourself a feminist anymore?
If somebody walked up to me on the street and said, do you support women's rights? I would say totally.
So that's not the same thing.
Yeah, see, I asked him, do you consider yourself a feminist? And he says, well, someone walked up to me in the street and asked me if I support women's rights. I'd say yes. And it's like, okay, well, that's not the question I asked you, Greg. I asked you if you identify as a feminist. Why are you avoiding that?
A feminist is a person who supports feminism, and feminism is the advocacy of women's rights based on the basis of equality of the sexes. So, yeah, that is what that is.
I know you love the dictionary, Greg, but dictionary definitions don't always line up with reality.
Not always. Sometimes, like for instance, there's like cuck. Cuck hasn't quite caught up with reality yet.
Well, I mean,
I did not know what he said when I first watched this. I was like, what was that word?
Untrue. Used in that theory as being true. Would that mean the dictionary is wrong, or are those scientists wrong?
Well, you're
Real Stream News, you do a great job.
Argument could be used for anything, so that's why it's not helpful.
Because the dictionary defines the words we use. It defines the language. It does not define reality.
Yeah, well, what I'm saying is, like, you could say, like, beating women is wrong, and I could say, well, what's your definition of beating? Well, beating is just a definition. In a dictionary, it's not necessarily something of reflection of reality. You could apply this.
If you argue with a dictionary, you're retarded.
Yeah, basically, that's what he thinks.
So what you're saying is that you think men should be able to legally beat their wives?
His face after this, his reaction to this, I don't even know where that came from. I just randomly said that to see what was going to happen. Let's just pay close attention to his reaction to that.
What? No. But this is what's.
Did he find that humorous? So what we're finding here is he thinks it's humorous to beat your wife. I'm kidding.
Important. This is There's the crowd I showed you that feminists are mostly people with blue hair. And I showed you that I couldn't find a single person with blue hair, and I could find almost no one who was overweight. So these feminist crowds, people choose these select individuals, and they say that's representation of all feminists, and it's such an immature and ignorant thing to do because they're not looking at the group of people. It's kind of like YouTube demonetizing people. They're looking at the individuals who are problems, everyone for that. So it's the same thing. You're looking at.
I understand what he's saying here when he's talking about how they're punishing everyone for the actions of the few. The problem is you kind of have to go by what the few do. For example, if you have, you could advocate for the fact, you could say maybe no one has to lock their doors at night. Why should everyone have to lock their doors at night? Oh, and then a couple of people come along and they start burglaring. They start coming into your house and stealing your things during the night. Just a couple of people. So then people start advocating for locking your door at night to keep you safe. Do you start saying, well, everyone shouldn't have to lock their door because it's just a couple of people who are doing this? That's probably a very bad analogy, but you get what I'm saying. Sometimes it is necessary to kind of moderate a whole group of people. There might only be a few bad apples, but it might be 1 in 100, it might be 1 in 1,000, it may be 1 in 1,000,000. Maybe 1 in 1,000,000 is a bit of a stretch. You don't really want to do anything there, but 1 in 1,000 even, it's quite a lot of people if you've got 1 in 1,000.
These individual feminists who are nut jobs, and then you're saying all feminists are like that. Okay, you're punishing everybody.
Oh yeah, they definitely are.
Well, are you? Yeah, sure, why not?
And there, he admitted that he's a feminist.
Oh, okay. Finally answered the question.
No, I've not had the breast implant argument yet.
I'm going by the definition, yeah.
His eyes are kind?
He has
Kind eyes? What? He chains people to walls.
We're not talking about that.
I know. Kind eyes.
Women actually have more rights than men in the Western world.
Not when it comes to being able to completely disassociate yourself with a child
This is where he was completely wrong.
that you helped bring into this world.
Actually, that's not true.
It is true because the guy has a 9-month head start.
He was so confident here.
If you think
Well,
about it.
true. But
Yeah,
legally,
so
women have the right to choose parenthood. I've actually got it written down.
Yeah, I know
Actually,
exactly what you mean. That's so true what you just said. Where a guy,
women can surrender a
can't
child.
say, a guy can't say, I want you to get an abortion because it's her body.
No, I don't even mean that. I mean after the child is born. What happens is with paternity laws and stuff, a man can never not choose to be involved with the child legally without the mother's consent. Whereas a mother can actually give up the child without the father's consent.
That's a good point.
You think that's good?
No, I think that's a good point that you made.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's a meninist issue.
A manist issue.
Feminist.
Yeah. So.
Just to go with the people in the chat, I don't see him as a predator. I think he's certainly got some predator behavior out there. I think there are some things that certainly look like predator behavior. But personally, I do not believe that he actually is a predator. I don't think he's a pedophile. I don't think he's a hebephile. I don't think he's an ephebophile. I don't think he's anything like that. I think he gets a worse rap than he does deserve. But
Agreed.
what's
I mean,
broke?
he can't be that bad. He has like a kid or two, doesn't he?
I mean, he can't be that bad. I mean, he's certainly got issues. He's certainly got certain.
I think everyone has issues.
Yeah, there's certainly some evidence out there to suggest that he has some creepy tendencies. Even the fact that he got with Lainey, what was she, 17 or something when he was mid-20s? That's a bit weird. And I think Shiloh was quite young when he was with her, and Billy was very young. I mean, there's certainly a strange thing going on there. At least it's not illegal, I suppose. It certainly seems like he's got a very young mentality, and it is a bit strange. Personally, I don't find him to be predatory like a lot of people do, but maybe that's just me. I do understand why people think that, though.
Someone in the chat, the chat, they're telling you stop picking your spots, Greg. You're gonna lose.
Actually, rubbing my facial hair.
And yeah, I think the problem is that you can't really tell how much of him is serious and how much isn't. I mean, there are times where I've seen him in other debates, and I'm like, he is clearly trying to troll. He is clearly just laying out bait, and these other people are getting so pissed off. They're getting mad. They're taking him seriously, kind of like what I was doing to him in this debate.
Exactly.
In the other debates, he was treating the other people in a similar way to how I was treating him, and that was kind of my strategy here. I just wanted to kind of treat him the way he normally treats everyone else. When he usually runs other people in circles, I wanted to run him in circles. He usually strawmans other people. I wanted to strawman him. These kind of things. I wanted to act a bit dumb, whereas he would normally act dumb. I wanted to ask him stupid questions. He normally asked you. I just wanted to do that kind of thing, throw out some bait as well, and make some outrageous statements. Just kind of, I wanted to give him a bit of a taste of his own medicine, shall we say.
So we've
Oh,
established.
and what I was actually picking is sometimes I grow like these random hairs that are like a little bit thicker than all the other facial hairs. So I'm like, what the fuck? Full explanation.
Okay.
Leno?
Yeah, from what I've seen, the young, I'm not sure. Yeah, I think
That would be Laney.
I think Lainey was 16 from what I've seen from the first contact. She was 16. I know she was a fan. I'm always a bit iffy on people getting with their fans. I always think that's a bit strange. Maybe if you're like a small YouTuber getting with fans, not a big deal. But when you're a big YouTuber with millions of subscribers like him, and you're suddenly with a fan who's much younger than you, that's a bit strange. Especially when she was very obsessed with him. She just wasn't a regular fan. And yeah, I made a video about the Billy stuff. It's on my channel. I made a couple of videos about that. But yeah, keep playing this.
Right there. Damn it, so irritating. It's like something that just stands out that you just can't focus on.
Okay, so
almost like a blue-haired feminist. Can't forget for some reason.
maybe you should go get a blue wig or something.
I think the problem is the big YouTubers don't want to give him any more attention. I think the topic of Onision has been done to death. He is an easy way to get views, and people love it when big YouTubers drag him or attack him or insult him or anything. But at the same time, it gives him more relevance, and I think that's the last thing these people really want to be doing. So I think it's a big thing for smaller YouTubers such as myself. Like, I'm always like, I know that when I upload an Onision video, I'm going to get a bit more views than on average, because Onision drama always brings in. I mean, I know the exact people who are going to comment on the videos. I suddenly see the avatars pop up. I'm like, oh, I know this person because I've seen them on Onision drama videos. So, I mean, it's a very secure way of getting this. Yeah, I would have reacted from it on your channel. That would have been a better idea, but too late now.
You're not an intersectional feminist, though, so you're not a very good feminist, are you?
Yeah, I don't know how you say your name, Mona KW. I don't know. Because of his personality, I cannot imagine Greg to be a good lover or kind lover or a generous lover. He's probably a very selfish lover. I'm not too sure about that. I think it's a bit hard to judge how he is very personally in his personal life. I think it's very hard to judge that based on his character in his videos. I think it's unfair to try and do that. Yeah, he does have a larger fan base.
Don't sound like you're such a feminist. Why were you so obsessed with Jack?
Yeah, it's lied out a bit, but this is where I asked him, such a good feminist, and why were you so obsessed with Jack Cleveland's choice to get a boob job?
For boobs. If you were such a good feminist, would you be happy about her choice?
No, I think that it's the opposite of supporting women when you tell or act like women should not be happy with their own bodies. So.
But that doesn't. But maybe she just. But someone could. I mean, for example, if you get a tattoo, does that mean you're not happy with your own body before you get a tattoo? Or a piercing?
Like, you're not happy with that section of your skin. You go be without that section of your skin. Like, for instance, I have multiple tattoos, and clearly I wasn't satisfied with the section of my skin.
See, this is a very strange way of thinking. Okay, I don't know anyone who got a tattoo because they Well, actually, I do. Most people don't get tattoos because they are dissatisfied with a section of their skin. People get tattoos because they like the idea of having body modifications. They like the idea of having different patterns they like, or words they like on their body, meaningful things, or the way things look. I mean, there are some people who will get a tattoo because maybe they've got a scar on their arm, so they want to cover that up and things like that. But for most people, they're not getting tattoos for that reason. They're getting it because they like them. I have no idea what I'm doing. Real stream news. If you want to contact me, you can tweet me, or my Twitter DMs are always open, or email me or whatever. I'm very easy to get a hold of.
I didn't even know he had tattoos. So that was a bit of a
Yeah, but he has tattoos, and I think it's very silly. Anyway, back to the Jacqueline bib thing.
And it would be nice if we lived in a world where everybody was happy with their own bodies.
You would like to capitalize on this and do more debates?
Wait, can we talk about this? Because I don't actually know who Jacqueline is.
Give me a second.
Does everyone just know, and I don't?
Yeah, probably. I'll explain it. Hold on. I'll type my email in the chat for you. Wow, it's ryanragreynolds@gmail.com. I don't know why it just said ragreynolds.
No, it does. It does say Ryan as well.
Yeah, I know, but it highlighted the word ragreynolds. If you can, I think if you go into my YouTube channel, if you go to the about section,
it looks perfectly fine. It's just the way you're seeing it.
Okay. Yeah, it probably highlights the word ragreynolds when it.
I think you've tagged yourself or something.
Yeah. Okay, so what happened with Jacqueline Glenn for the most part. I don't know the full detail. I didn't pay too much attention to it, but basically, Jacqueline Glenn she's an atheist YouTuber. She makes videos being very skeptical about skepticism type videos and atheism videos. She was a friend of Onision's for a while. She did some collab videos with him. It came to a point where there is this guy called Social Repose, who, do you remember Ayla, Billy's friend?
Mm-hmm.
So Social Repose dated her, and it came out that he cheated on her and stuff, and Onision knew about this. So Onision had made videos back in the day trashing him and saying he was a shitty person.
Mm-hmm.
But then what happened was Jacqueline Glenn got with him. So Onision was friends with Jacqueline Glenn, and he basically told her, do not get with this guy.
He warned her basically because of what happened with...
Yes. And then when she said, well, he's never been any of these things you're saying with me, and it's my choice, he said, well, I'm not being your friend anymore.
People
So he broke the friendship off because, I mean, I can understand being a bit frustrated treating someone the way he did and making it a whole public piece of drama. That was absolutely ridiculous. And what happened was Social Repose did eventually cheat on Jacqueline. And when he did, Onision made a whole thing about it. He made videos, he tweeted, basically saying, told you so, haha.
Rubbed it in her face.
Basically, yeah, he was basically tweeting about it. Told you so, you should have listened to me, all-knowing Greg, the fact machine.
That's not very nice.
That's basically what he did. And at the same point, it was during it, when she was with the Social Repose, she got a boob job. And apparently, I don't know how much of this is true, but he claims that it came out that part of the reason was he had shamed her into getting bigger boobs because he wanted a woman with bigger boobs or something. I can't remember the whole story. Someone might be able to explain that better in the chat. I don't know the full thing with that. I just know the other part that I did explain. But yeah, it's basically the gist of it.
But it's not. It's not that way. So when I say,
what if you're one of those fat blue-haired feminists, though?
This is why it's kind of an issue. The breast implant thing is because it's like saying, hey, this is what a woman should be. And that's really offensive because a woman isn't supposed to have, on average, big boobs. A woman, on average, has just C cup or B cups.
This was just a really, just because someone on average has something, that doesn't mean that it shouldn't happen. It's like, if an average man is 5'9" or something, does that mean that all men should be that height? Does it mean tall men are abnormal? Does that mean you shouldn't be, well, yes, it is abnormal, but does that mean you shouldn't be tall? Does it mean you're not supposed to be tall? Does it mean you're not supposed to be short? Are you all supposed to be the same height? Are you all supposed to have the same boob size? Like, what are you even trying to say? Just because something's not normal doesn't mean it's not right. I mean, being gay is not normal. Is being gay not right, Onision?
Statistically. So,
are you trying to play God now, Greg?
No, I'm just saying. women just typically don't have this. So you have.
I feel like he was indirectly talking about his dick.
GG.
Increase in women with altered breast size, and so you're telling all these other people, you're saying loud and clear, you just get this so much better.
See, he's acting as if one person getting a boob job means that everyone needs to get a boob job. Well, he's not that. I didn't word that very well, but he's trying to say that by Jacqueline getting a boob job, she's essentially saying that anyone who had the boob size she had before should be ashamed of that, and they should want bigger boobs, which is clearly not the case at all. I mean, for example, she was with Social Repose, who liked bigger boobs, and he claims that he pressured her into getting the boob job. Okay, so if part of the decision was she wanted bigger boobs and he liked that as well, then okay. But you might find a guy who likes very, very small boobs. I mean, you get porn categories about small boobs and stuff. I mean, some women like having smaller boobs, some women like having bigger boobs. Not everyone has the same idea of what is good and what is bad. I mean, people have different ideas of what kind of things attractive. Some people like brown hair, some people like blonde hair, some people like blue eyes, some people like green eyes, some people like brown eyes. I mean, he's acting like everyone's standards are the exact same, which they're clearly not.
Than what you have, because why else would you alter it? It's kind of like a person who gets a nose job and they have a big nose. You're telling people that big noses are bad. I personally don't want a big nose. I don't think anybody. But
So you get a nose job.
that's a lot.
See, so he just spent this whole thing about, well, you should be happy with your body, and you should be happy if you've got small boobs or whatever. But then he says, well, if I had a big nose, I'd make my nose smaller. It's like, what? So you just told everyone to accept their body the way it is, and now you're saying you would get a nose job if you had a big nose?
Right.
Now you're basically telling everyone to go get a nose job, and if they've got a big nose, it's ugly. That's basically what you just said.
Have you seen what this person said in the chat
What one?
about what Onision said about women women taller than 5'8"?
Yeah, I'm reading the chat.
Did he actually say that? Do you know if he said that?
I don't know if he said that.
That would be pretty contradictory if he said that.
And you're telling everybody that you think that having a certain body type or body shape is unacceptable.
Well, maybe it is.
Well, I mean, I don't think I mean, some guys prefer girls who look fake.
See, and this is just me because he's saying it's not unacceptable or whatever, and I'm saying, well, maybe it is unacceptable. That's just me trying to stir the pot a bit.
They prefer their breasts to bounce in an abnormal.
Yes, that is. Yes, boop the boops. In all of his Bro videos, he's telling people whether or not they're too skinny or too fat, and then he comes out with stuff like everyone should be happy about their body. It's like, what?
Isn't that more of a health thing though?
No, I don't think so. I mean, even if it is a health thing, I mean,
Because he talks a lot about how like the perfect diet is like the perfect body. Like, doesn't he speak about that?
Sure, maybe that is, but it just at face value is very silly. Yes, there's people. It's just what they look like. As he rates these girls, it's like he's got girls and he's saying, "You're a 4 out of 10. You're an 8 out of 10. You're a 9 out of 10. Take this from a different angle. You'd be a 7 out of 10." And he actually has videos, like countless of them, where he just does that shit. Yeah, he did. He said that he only kept Billy around because of her looks, and then he made another comment and said, if she looked like her ugly friend Isla, then we would have dumped her a long time ago. That was an actual
I saw that.
quote. That was an actual quote from Onision.
This thing when girls do push-ups, their breasts separate strangely, depending on how the boob implants were done. It's very freakish, and it also requires repeat surgery later in life. So it's just this whole
I have no idea how true any of this is because I know fuck all about breast surgery.
necessary ordeal that
True.
we have to go through. On top of all the things that women already go through.
Would you say? Would you make the same argument to a trans person?
You really had to think about this one.
Well,
See, you know when he doesn't know what to say because he repeats the question.
you're saying that they're not happy with their bodies. Are you telling everyone that aren't happy with their bodies they should go and change it?
I am with a trans person.
No, he is not with a trans person. This is something I should have said. I just didn't want
That
to be
really
rude.
confused me.
Lainey was in the chat. I didn't want to be rude to Lainey because I have no issue with Lainey. But she is not a trans person. I mean, okay, we can argue about whether agender is a thing or non-binary is a thing, but those things are not transgender. She claims she's agender or non-binary, whatever, but that's not being trans. That's not the same thing. Being trans is when you're a guy who feels like he's a girl, or you're a girl who feels like they're a guy. That's basically what trans is. Being trans is not thinking that you're no gender. It's not the same thing.
Trans person is my spouse, and my general position with them is, I really don't support or encourage this alteration. But if it's something that you must do, then I'm not going to stop you. That kind of thing. Like, it's not. It sucks.
So you just avoid the question.
No, it just sucks that someone's unhappy with their body, but nobody should be taking their rights away. But everybody should be able to say, I like you how you are. I think that's something that you should be allowed to say, that I prefer you as you were born. But if they want to be something else, then you should probably just let them be themselves.
Well, exactly, that's their choice. And it was the same with Jacqueline Glenn. You shouldn't have commented on that.
He was this section of the debate must have been the biggest fail on his part, honestly, because he just kept contradicting himself over and over again about this Jacqueline stuff. He just kept saying, on one hand, they should be happy with their bodies, and then the next minute he's saying, well, maybe they should. If I had a big nose, I'd want a smaller nose. And then he's saying, everyone should be fine to make their own choices. And then the next minute he's saying, well, Jacqueline shouldn't have done that. And he just kept going back and forth, and he wouldn't kind of admit to any of it.
I feel like
trans when you're planning to transition instead of settling. No. Trans is...
Isn't it just when you believe that you're the wrong gender?
Well...
Am I getting this wrong?
Hold on.
Is it not just like a shortcut for saying transsexual?
How do I best describe this? For the most part, transgender is just... you feel like you're in the wrong body. There used to be... people used to use the phrase transsexual as well as a separate thing, but that became more of a slur over time because it kind of created this elitism between trans people, because what would happen is transgenders would be considered the ones who have not transitioned and had any surgery done, whereas the transsexuals would have had the surgery done. So what happened was the actual transsexuals started basically bullying the transgenders and telling them that they're not real trans people, and they're trans trenders was a big term that was used. I don't see transsexual used very often anymore. Most people tend to consider it a slur, or they just consider it the exact same thing. I think they're good to use for different things. Yeah, transsexual is when you're having operations, but transgender
When you've
is
had.
Yeah, or
You already had.
yeah. But for the main thing is, though, the trans part, it just means that you're a man who thinks they're a woman, or you're a woman who thinks they're a man. That's basically as simple as that. But Lainey doesn't fit under that.
No, she doesn't at all.
I don't think non-binary is a thing.
I was very confused for a second, thinking that she was a boy.
Non-binary literally just means that you don't identify as male or female. So that's not the same as being trans, because trans specifically do identify as male or female.
I think I should have, because it came out that Jacqueline Glenn was actually influenced by her boyfriend's body shaming. So it turned out where I was actually right about it. The whole thing. So,
okay, give me a second. I'm going to go pee. You guys just keep talking. I'll just be a minute.
Ask me things. Well, this is awkward. Is Hannah still in the chat, or has she left? Yes, TG, that is who I am.
Okay. And
Hi.
okay, did I miss anything?
No, I think TG just realised who I am.
No. Okay.
Well,
Social
maybe not
repeat
exactly, but yeah.
didn't make Jacqueline do it. Jacqueline only says, okay. Okay, I'm going to continue this video. My God, we're only halfway through.
Ugh.
Elaborate.
Well, okay, so I commented that she shouldn't date Social Repulse in the first place because he was a cheating douchebag. And then he wound up cheating on her. Okay, so that was my commentary. She didn't listen to it, and I terminated our friendship because I said I didn't want to associate with her if she was associated.
That wasn't very feminist of you, Greg.
This is where I just wanted to start saying that over and over again. Anytime he said anything that had anything to do with a woman involved in whatever decision it was he made, I just wanted to keep telling him, that's not very feminist of you. And I just wanted to kind of see what his reaction was. He never actually snapped at that. But
Not letting women choose their own partners.
Protecting women from being cheated on, I think, is very feminist.
he did get a little bit upset there. He's like, protecting women from being cheated on is very feminist. And then he was very dour in his facial expression until he smiled. No, he's definitely not a realistic character. From my interactions with him privately, he is very different off camera than he is on camera. There are certainly some similarities. I mean, everyone has some similarities, but no, there's certainly very, very different. Very different. I would say I don't know. I think he's different in the debates specifically than he's different in debates. If you've ever watched his Discord streams where he does stuff with like his patrons and stuff, where he's talking to them on Discord, I'd say that's more like what he is in real life. And he's a bit more laid back, he's a bit more chilled. He's not really the same kind of ass that he normally is, but he still has issues.
It's just how you look at it, really. But then she goes on to make a video.
Thanks for being here, TJ.
About thinking about getting boob implants, and I'm already halfway through the video before I realize that she's already gotten it done. And I'm the type of person who's like, well, I hate not uploading things that I've already worked on, so I spun it to celebrating how she was naturally, and also trying to find out why she would be so unhappy with her body to do this. And then she said it had nothing to do with her boyfriend. And then later on, she's once he actually cheated on her, she revealed that he was actually body shaming her the whole time. So what was crazy is that she would, I mean, I guess she's a ride or die chick to actually lie on behalf of her boyfriend. But the fact that she revealed later on that it was actually a lie and that I was actually right. She didn't say I was right because she has too much pride. But I don't know. I feel like that was a totally justified thing considering.
Well, I mean, the problem here is I don't think it has anything to do with pride. I think the problem is you were just being an ass about it. I mean, if you've got an issue with someone who they're dating, you don't need to make it a big public thing. That's always been Greg's issue. He's constantly making things public that don't need to be. Back around, that was the same thing with the whole Billy saga. I mean, the whole problem was he suddenly started putting this girl's stuff out publicly. I mean, it's like, okay, you've broken up, and now he's going to suddenly put all of her text messages onto his Twitter to hundreds of thousands of people. That didn't need to happen. That could have been something that was dealt with in private. That could have been entirely private. You don't need to show the world what's happening. Yeah, sure, that's how you've made a living on YouTube, doing that kind of thing. But if you've got any sort of self-respect, you do that with people who you're still in your life, not people who you're trying to kick out your life or who are on bad terms with you. You don't suddenly start revealing all this personal, private information. That's very shady, Greg. And that's the issue with the Jacqueline thing as well. You're bringing something that's a very personal issue, and you're just telling the public about it. You're just telling everyone about it, and that's not very good.
That I was right about everything. So.
How do you feel about taxes? Because this is a very big feminist issue.
I feel like I've purchased a lot of school buses.
But don't you think that you as a man should pay more taxes?
I just wanted to see what he would say to this because I know he had issues with taxes recently. He had a big issue where, if anyone doesn't know, I'm sure most people know, but he got I can't remember exactly the details, but basically he wasn't paying the right amount of tax because he had basically tried to write off his second house as a tax expense, like as a work expense. He was like, my second house is my place of work. That's where I work. But he basically wrote off the second house. He wrote off a second car and all this other stuff as expenses for his business. So he said his second house was actually just for business, and the tax man wasn't taking that very well or whatever, and they tried to say that he owed them a shit ton of money. I don't know how that ended up resolving or if it did resolve or anything like that. I think he did sell the other house. I'm not quite sure. Someone would have to clarify that for me. But I just knew there was a big thing about taxes. Drop whatever link you want. Boop to boops. But I felt, yeah, he was audited. I remember something about that. I don't remember the full thing. I just remember that there was something to do with taxes, so I wanted to bring that up.
I feel like people should pay what they're supposed to pay based on their income.
Well, I mean, if men don't pay more in taxes, then that puts the price of women's products up. So if you don't pay more in your taxes voluntarily, that makes you a very bad feminist.
What? That was logic. That was logic gymnastics. So
The best
hold
part
on.
was how serious he took this. He thought I was being so serious.
Let me also use your same logic. Oh, you don't support war? Well, most of your taxes go to war, so you're a murderer. That's basically what you just said to me.
But his analogy was absolutely terrible, though. I mean, what
It's
I
not
said was stupid, but what he said made no sense in relation to what I said either.
No, it's not.
Yeah, I don't control where my taxes go. Okay, and I don't really support war, but I still pay.
I mean, if you don't know where your taxes go, never mind. I was going to say something very stupid there.
My taxes doesn't mean I support war.
When I laughed here, he thought I was laughing at him. Most people probably did, but I was actually laughing at someone in the chat. I can't remember what they said. It was something. I'm pretty sure someone said this guy looks like the number 8. I don't know why. I just found it funny. They said that someone in the chat said this guy looks like the number 8. Talking about me, apparently I look like the number 8.
Apparently, you're a snowman.
I don't know. But I just couldn't stop laughing. Ugh, I don't know why I won't let people put links in the chat.
Try and put a few spaces in it, maybe.
Yeah, just break it up and people will see.
We'll just like reconnect it afterwards.
If you break it up, I'll
I'm not giving people wrenches.
Yeah, if you break the link up, I'll post it in full. I'll connect it for you.
That was a very silly statement.
All right, then rephrase or whatever.
No, we're moving on.
Okay. All right. Sure.
But having a respect for this conversation we're having right now, maybe I would clarify, but I don't. So we'll have a better one.
For you. Good for you.
Okay, so what do you think?
I think that feminism is required in this.
I went to make a point there. I was going to be like, "What do you think about this?" But he wouldn't let me finish my point.
Women's reproductive rights and various other rights.
To protect them?
Yeah. Like it's been protecting their right to vote and protecting their
surely that should just be
rights to divorce a man and right to not have to wear a burqa and all that stuff.
Surely that should.
Oh, that stuff.
Anyway,
ask over 1 billion human beings on Earth why they want to wear a burqa.
Don't you think that was such a silly statement? Ask over 1 billion people why they want to wear a burqa. Okay, well, most of them are forced to wear burqas. So, what's your point?
Well, most of them are forced, but
well, I don't know. A lot of them actually defend it. They're socially conditioned, kind of like.
Yeah, but the ones who actually defend it are the people who aren't living in those countries where they're actually being forced to wear them. The people defending it are the people who come here and then wear it out of their own free will.
With breast implants, what we're socially conditioned to believe is right, we will typically go for that. So if we see a bunch of chicks walking around with big boobs, we're socially trained from children to think that that's a good thing. Just like Barbie, dude. We have this Barbie doll that's inhumanly shaped, and we're like, why am I not like Barbie? And so we go through their whole lives hating themselves because of the goddamn Barbie doll. Stuff like that. Socially conditioned. So all these women are supporting the burqa because they were trained. It's just like religion. Like people who are Christians their whole life because they were trained to be Christians. If they were born in China and taught Buddhism, they would be Buddhist their whole life. more often than not. You know,
I was going to make a very bad comment there, but I didn't.
it's fine to make
What?
bad.
I don't remember what the comment I was going to make there was. I wish I could remember. Oh, that's what I was going to. I was going to make a very nasty comment about Lainey, but I decided not to. I don't remember what the comment was, but I was like, no, I'm not going to say that. That would be very rude, and you may actually freak out.
No,
If they're
it's
hilarious.
okay. It's okay. You may not find it hilarious.
Whatever.
Anyway, what do you think about black feminism versus white feminism?
What's
Oh boy, this was fun.
the difference?
Well, there's this specific brand of feminism where they think that white women feminism should not be a thing and that they're enablers. I mean, something like 54%
I'm guessing this is
of
the
white women
minority.
vote for Trump.
See, this is. I mean, you should know. We take the minority of a group and we act like it represents everyone.
Okay, what are we talking about?
You're talking about black feminism versus white feminism. You take.
Since when?
This was. Oh, I was laughing. I couldn't stop laughing in my own head. I think I actually start laughing here when I'm doing this because he at first thought I was playing with him, but then suddenly he was like, "Are you okay?" I think he actually thought I forgot. Okay. Oh,
You've been tweeted.
You've sent it
Even
to
though
me.
I put my Twitter in the chat, so that's a.
Oh, okay.
I feel like crap now. Thanks, guys.
Just now. Are you
What did I say? I'm fine. Are you okay? Or was I cutting out or something?
You were talking about black feminism versus white feminism.
Was I?
Yes.
What did I say?
You
Why are you laughing?
were saying that black feminists seem to believe that white feminists were less valid. Because
No. I didn't say black feminists.
All right.
Okay.
So do you have a question?
Okay, let's see what's the chat saying. Okay. Yeah, his fans had no idea what was going. Some of the people in the chat, they were like, "Oh my god, this is hilarious! That's amazing." I searched on Twitter. I saw some people who were tweeting me. They were like, "Oh my god, this is hilarious! I love you." I saw people in other comments who were saying similar things, but for the most part, most people thought I was being serious, and they didn't realize that I was just taking the piss and trying to bait him the whole time. Yeah. The problem is that for some reason they don't classify a lot of people. It's becoming a more and more mainstream thing to separate racism from white people. There's this whole thing that has come around where, yeah, Toll was, but Toll's short videos is an idiot. But yeah, there's this whole movement of people who tend to think that you cannot be racist to someone who's white, for example, because they think that racism requires power and it requires structure and stuff. And it's the same with sexism. People think that you can't be sexist unless you're a man, sorry. You can't be sexist to a man because you need the power. So to those people, what I normally say is I say, okay, well, if black people can't be racist because the white people have all the power, then could Barack Obama be racist when he was president? He was the most powerful man in the country. I mean, there are black people who are not in poverty, whereas there are some white people who are in poverty. Does that mean those black people can be racist to those white people? So your power argument's a bit silly, and it goes the same with sexism as well. Toll videos is a weird one. He hasn't. I think I basically destroyed his credibility. He had a lot of followers and stuff. Suddenly, thanks to Joy Sparkle BS, he had a lot of fans. Then he had the little spat with me. I made a few videos exposing clear lies he was telling. Then he turned into a big baby and big child and just seeking attention. And a lot of people abandoned him, and he lost a lot of his credibility. His videos started suddenly being overwhelmed with dislikes rather than likes. I think he gets about 50-50 now, but yeah. So basically, I think I kind of drove him away.
Look at Emma Watson's speech. Oh God, I'd rather not. You know, Emma Watson's great until she starts speaking.
I don't know. I think Emma Watson is great all around for the most part.
What do you think of Anita Sarkeesian?
Anita Sarkeesian.
Don't know the name.
Is that the feminist girl?
Yeah, Feminist Frequency.
To be blunt, I think she looks very obnoxious and is probably actually. I had an.
Does everyone know who Anita Sarkeesian is?
No,
Who?
I don't know who anyone is apparently.
I'll just show just for anyone who doesn't know. This is Anita Sarkeesian's YouTube channel, Feminist Frequency. Oh, she's so terrible. She basically has this whole web series. Oh, she's not made any in a while, but maybe that was on a different channel. I can't remember. But she had a series called, I think it's called Tropes in Video Games, and she made a whole series about how video games are sexist and they make men sexist. Pretty much everyone you can think of made a fucking response video. Here's one: Tropes v Women in Video Games.
Okay, it looks like I can open them from here, but I won't be able to come in with you. Here goes.
The earlier, hugely successful BioShock games. Infinite Stories.
Oh, her eyebrows are worrying.
Yeah, she
Sorry.
she basically made all this ridiculous stuff. I mean, it's like there was an example she used of Batman Arkham Knight, the game. So Batman Arkham Knight, and she basically takes Batman and she takes Catwoman, and she says, "Look at this. With the camera angles you control, you can get a good, clear view of Catwoman's butt." And then she takes
Oh,
Batman.
I've heard of that.
Then she takes Batman and she goes, "Look at the camera angle here. You can't see his butt." And it's like, yeah, Anita, he's wearing a fucking cape. That's why you can't see his butt. Fucking retard.
Tell you about an encounter I had with someone from Feminist Frequency. I went to a YouTube gathering or a YouTube training thing on search engine optimization and how to, boost your channel, etc. And this girl that I encountered from Feminist Frequency, I started a conversation with her, and everything was chill. And then I brought up how I said, what do you think of spousal support in courts? Do you think that it's disproportionate how they often favor women in those cases? And she looked at me with such disinterest in the conversation. She's like, "Excuse me, what did you say?" And I'm like, "I was just wondering how you thought about the proportions between a man and a woman in divorce court as far as spousal support goes." And she refused to talk to me at that point. And I was like, I mean, I was just asking a question about spousal support. I wasn't saying that it was like one way or another. Typically, I would say, but I was trying to be polite and not have an opinion inserted. But yeah, she was just like really, really triggered. And I was like,
Greg trying to be polite. Wow.
See, this is why people think feminists are nuts, because of people like you. You can't even have a conversation. Like, I didn't say that sort of thinking it. I'm not trying to start an incident at YouTube.
Oh, so you were a coward.
I was being
like you're claiming Make Nectar to be.
I was being socially appropriate for the content.
Socially appropriate. That's a nice way of dodging that.
No,
What
like there's a
did I
certain
predict?
social etiquette that you have when you're sitting
Apparently, I predicted something.
Oh.
right in front of someone. You try to be polite, but you also try to be honest.
So, what do you think about honesty then? Are you always honest?
It's a very vague question. I was covering my encounters with people when they say, "Have you had a good day today?" or "How are you doing today?" And you always just kind of like have this generic response of "okay" or "good." Your day is, and that's not.
No, I always say terrible. I honestly do it. If someone asks me how are you doing, I always say terrible. And they say why, and I say I don't know. I just felt like saying.
Where'd you go? Real Stream News. I don't seem to have an email. Did you send it to the right email?
Are you looking at the right email?
Yeah, I'm in my emails right now. I don't seem to have your email.
Right.
How do I feel about Mike? Okay, the whole Mike thing. I don't have much of an opinion about Mike.
Mike?
Yeah, Mike, an actor. He was the guy who was originally supposed to debate Onision, but then Onision threw a bitch fit because he wouldn't debate him for 3 months or something. He had terms. He said he wanted it to be 3 months from now, and he wanted a moderator. And Onision said no. So I really don't have much of an opinion of Mike, but no, I don't seem to have any sort of email from you. I don't know if you've sent it to the right thing. It should be ragreynolds@gmail.com. If you don't get the email, if the email won't, if you tried that and it's just not working, or I don't know,
Tweet, just
tweet.
DM or something.
Yeah, DM me on Twitter. My DMs are always open, so that's probably the easiest way to normally contact me. Just DM me on Twitter. I'm always on Twitter.
That must be very depressing.
I hope it's depressing. I hope it depresses people.
Yeah, the problem is his channel is down. He has a very specific base that will stick with him, and he's very lucky to have them. But yeah, it definitely peaked at a certain point, and what happened was eventually, obviously, people get bored of the drama. I mean, his channel has always been because of drama. Other than, I mean, he done the banana song and stuff, so he had some comedy sketches and comedy success in the beginning. That's how he got his stuff. He got a base audience basically, but after that, he was mainly all about drama. That's how it became about drama, and when it became about drama, he was on a very risky path. It eventually gets to a point where people, they get fed up of your shit. They get fed up of watching the soap operas. They get fed up eventually. I mean, people, they just want it to be over with. It's the same stuff going on for years and years and years, and there's never any end to it. So people get bored.
Anyway, so
Oh, trans trender. That's the idea that when someone, like, yeah, they're trendy to be trans, they pretend that they say they're trans just to try and be trendy or cool.
the reason
Yeah, I watched one of Mike's videos. I watched one or two of them actually about the debate just to see what he was all about and everything. I couldn't disagree with anything he was saying. I've no issues with Mike. I seem to agree with him on a lot of things. I had a quick look down his Twitter. We seem to agree on some stuff as well. We follow a lot of the same people. I don't know. He followed me the other day. Maybe I'll follow him back. I don't know.
I was talking about that is because like that's the one area in my life which I'm not bluntly honest with people because I do care. So there's one aspect where I just literally will say what they want to hear, and that's the story. I don't want to go on a conversation about exactly how my day is.
You always say yes to women. That isn't very feminist, though.
I could not keep a straight face for that one. I could not help but laugh.
Evidently.
Yes, to women.
If you have a warped view of feminism, that might seem true.
Why?
Because feminism isn't about giving women all the rights and men no rights. It's about having equal rights. It's the fair purpose of feminism.
It's about getting women the same rights as men. You take it to the most simple terms.
Yeah.
But that's not about equal rights, because that has nothing to do with getting men the same rights as women. If you're, that's the definition.
I think he kind of realized that there.
For instance, feminism.
That's why he paused.
Women the same right as men to vote. It also got women.
I'd like to add that it didn't actually get them the same right as men to vote. It got them a superior right than men to vote. For anyone who doesn't know, here's a little history lesson for you. But back in the day, it wasn't, voting wasn't down to men versus women. It wasn't that men could vote and women couldn't. Voting was down to property. It was if you owned property, you got votes. And people who had more property actually had more votes. And lo and behold, some women actually owned property. What happened was, eventually, men became required to sign up for the draft to go to war. Yes, exactly. TG's saying it in the chat. Men had to sign up for the draft to go to war, and they got the right to vote on that condition. Basically, they were told, you can go to war for us, you will fight for us if we need you, but you will also get the vote for that. When feminists eventually pushed for women to get the vote, and when men, who were the ones who actually gave women the right to vote, they gave them the right to vote for free. Be eligible for the draft to vote, basically, and women don't.
Same right divorce a man as a man has to divorce a woman. It also got women alimony and child support and stuff like that. Very key things that women need to survive. So yes, it was about getting women the same rights that a man can have.
Yeah, and it served its purpose, and now we don't need it.
But we just went through the whole first half of this why they need it. So we're still having a pro-choice battle. And you said you're pro-choice yourself, but now you're pro-life just because you don't want to be a feminist, which is great. It's crazy.
I just find it hilarious that he actually believes I am now pro-life because I don't want to be a
What
feminist.
are you? What are you now?
What am I now?
What are you now?
Pro-choice. I was never actually pro-life. I just told him I was pro-life to annoy him.
I actually believed you for a second, and then that bit came up, and I was like, "Oh, he's taking the
My screen. What about my screen?
Your screen. Oh, it's gone.
Oh. Okay, I've stopped it. Hold on, I'll restart it. What's this?
Your voice actually cut off earlier as well for like 3 seconds.
Well, it must have dropped or something. This one.
I thought it died. I thought I was going to have to end the stream for you.
Can you see it?
No.
Screen sharing? No.
I don't think you're presenting either.
Present to everyone. Oh.
It's presenting, but it's not showing the screen.
Yeah, it's not letting me screen share anymore.
No!
Hold on. Don't know what happened there.
Here we go again. Technical difficulties.
Yeah, it's a bit silly.
It's too late at night for this.
Screen share. Application window. No, it's not working. Hold on, I might just need to share my entire screen. We'll see.
Part 2 tomorrow?
No, we're doing it all. I'm doing it all now.
If you can get it to work, yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, you don't really need to see it, but I'll try my entire screen. Nope. Oh
You
boy.
presenting?
Yeah.
Now you're presenting.
I don't know what the issue
And now
is.
it's not. And now you're not. Did you just turn it on and off?
Yeah, I don't... Present to everyone. Screen share. Application.
How did you fix this earlier?
Well, this wasn't the issue earlier.
But it wasn't presenting, right?
No, that was different.
Oh, there was no audio earlier. That was it.
Yeah, I don't understand what's going on. How about... Okay, I'm just gonna play it and talk over it. I'm just not gonna have a screen, I suppose. I'm afraid.
So you just dump out your values because you don't want to be cultured.
I don't dump out any values, Greg. I have very specific values, and I stick to them.
Actually, I'll turn it back on because it was still on. It just wasn't working. And if it comes back on, it comes back on. That's probably a better way to do it. Okay.
Like being pro-choice? Are you still pro-choice?
No, I'm not pro-choice. I'm pro-life now. I was pro-choice until about 20 minutes ago.
Yeah, but you said you just don't. You just said you don't dump out your values. Stick to your values.
Yeah, but that wasn't one of my values. I really don't care.
That's what vegan gains.
Either. I mean,
when I cornered vegan gains repeatedly when he's talking about my personal life, he kept saying I don't care because that's what you say when you have nothing else to say.
Oh no, I mean it's like I don't care about gay rights. I mean, sure, it's nice.
I always have something to say, so that was nonsense.
If gay people can go marry each other, but I really don't care. I don't think it has. I don't think it has anything to do with me. I don't care. I don't care if they can or they can't do it. It doesn't affect.
Well, it has everything to do with me because I know many.
So they should coming out.
Huh?
Huh?
I'm also a man I'm attracted to.
So,
what?
Such as
Andy Beer second Jensen Eccles.
Shane Dawson.
No. Apparently really
No.
why I'd be attracted to him.
Social repose.
No.
Oh, you give it a really big...
Sigh.
Well, because it was so ridiculous that you had to pause and like
Trying to
kind of
contain yourself.
try to fathom the stupidity of the question.
Next question.
Oh, do you actually have a list of questions?
No, I was telling you to move on to the next question.
Well, I was just looking at a bunch of feminist signs, trying to find something I disagree about.
Feminist sign? Oh boy.
Yeah, like at the feminist rallies, because typically that's what people use to establish what they're there for, the most important point that they're trying
Yeah, they're
to.
usually stupid.
I mean, depends on. I mean, think about it this way: people aren't going to take pictures of every sign that. They're going to take pictures of signs that stand out. Sometimes that makes them funny, or it makes them ridiculous, or whatever. But there's a sign that I don't know if it's. It says, "Men are rapists," and I mean,
I thought you agreed with it.
Some men are, but like that's an example of a sign where someone didn't think through, and now it's being used as a poster for all feminists, as if that represents all of them.
But it does. The vast majority.
I mean, there are a lot of like very well-known feminists, like Barack Obama was a feminist.
Barack Obama. Men can't be feminists.
Barack Obama.
Feminists do not want men.
Well, if you look at a crowd of feminists, you'll see that they're walking together, men and women.
What? So you're arguing for segregation of the sexes? Should the men walk in front of their wives?
No, I think that's from what you just said. You just don't want men. Then I established that they in fact do, and they.
I mean, I love how he says we established that they in fact do want men. I mean, he didn't really. I mean, I was making a ridiculous statement, but he didn't actually establish that they do. He didn't give evidence of that. He didn't make it very clear that they do. He just said that they do, and I'm supposed to just take his word for that.
Yup.
And otherwise make demonstrations in. So then you try to warp it to something else, and that's not what it is.
And your point is?
My point is that feminists do want men because they're trying to be equal with men.
So you're saying that all feminists are straight?
You're such a
Herb said.
You're such a. Oh my God.
I think he realized at this point.
What did he call you?
He said, "You're such a troll." I think he kind of realized at this point.
It was only then
But I think
that he finally realized.
No, we still went on a bit more later, I think. At that one point, he was like, "You're trolling me here." But he couldn't really tell later on again.
I am offended.
Campaign for you, that would be helpful. Okay? And so including men.
But see, at the same time, he clearly can't think him being that much of a troll, because if you really think someone's a troll, you're not going to continue to seriously debate them during it, are you? I mean, you're gonna stop. You're gonna say, "Well, I'm not going to address this point. You're clearly not being serious. So why am I even arguing it?" So he clearly wasn't too sure.
Is to the advantage of feminists.
Oh, I'm going to say, "Well, I'm not going to address this point. You're clearly not being serious. So why am I even arguing?"
I appreciate you because, like, literally,
I can hear you from me. You're echoing.
What?
My thing's echoing to you, through you.
I didn't even do anything.
I don't know. I just heard it there. I don't know why I was laughing at this point in the video.
whenever I talk to you, I have no way to understand whether or not you're being serious or not.
I'm all serious, Greg.
I'm sure you're not at all laughing your ass off inside your head right now.
Inside my head, and I'm pretty clearly laughing out loud, but that doesn't mean
I
I'm
know,
not
but
being
you were,
serious.
while I was making that statement, you were quite silent. So I thought you were laughing then. But I
just before I forget, my friend Hannah, she wants you to stop blocking her on Twitter.
Stop blocking? Like she keeps making new accounts?
No, you've unblocked her 3 times and then blocked her again.
Good, she should stay blocked this time because clearly she doesn't get how to not be a
That's not very feminist of you, blocking women on Twitter.
That's a very simplistic way to look at things. If you support women's rights, your general philosophy. That's like saying if
Why are you tagging me in the chat? I can't change that.
Why didn't you tell me?
I don't know. I'm not looking at the actual.
Caterpie's alive.
Who is Caterpie?
It's Pokemon.
It's his dog's name.
The Pokemon.
Oh, just wait. We're getting to the Reptar conversation. That was
no.
fun.
Yeah, Caterpie, like the Pokemon. Anyway,
What?
what? Why are you confused by the name?
Yeah, I'm pretty confused.
All right, so we've established that women definitely need feminism because of the current battle with abortion.
No, we did not establish that.
Well, if you don't have feminism, then you don't have anyone really fighting for women's rights and the insurance and the.
Well, yeah, you do. You have genuine good people fighting for women. I mean, you don't need a whole movement just to fight for them. They've already got their rights. We don't need to have a whole movement of people to fight for them.
See, the issue with here, what he's saying that we need feminists to fight for women. Okay, so is it only women that fight for? Sorry, is it only feminists that fight for women? It's like, why does it have to be a feminist? I mean, do I need to be an anti-murder advocate to protest against murder? Of course not. I mean, that's just a default position. If feminism is truly just about wanting equality, then it's a useless label because it's a default stance. It's like, if you're against bad things, you don't need to tell everyone, I am against bad things. You're not an anti-evil person. That's just a default stance on something. You don't need to tell people that you are. You don't need a label for it. You don't need a movement for it. Equal rights between men and women is a default stance that most people agree with, whether they take the feminist label or not. So it's a very silly label to slap onto people if that is truly what it is, because it's the default thing. It's like, I don't go around advertising that I'm a human being, because what I am, everyone knows I'm a human being. People assume that. It's a safe thing to assume. You don't go into a bar and see a bunch of people and just assume that none of them want women's rights. Most of them probably do want women to have equal rights to men. You don't need to assume or ask them if they do. They don't need a label on them to tell you that. You should just, most of them agree with you. It's that simple.
You don't seem to understand feminism at all. It's all about working on behalf of women's rights.
I haven't read a dictionary, have I?
Well, here's the thing. You said that feminists were all fat and blue-haired, and I proved that there's no blue-haired.
It looks like there's a fact machine, doesn't there, Greg?
That's it, guys. I would love for everyone to, from now on, call me the real fact machine. I don't want just a fact machine. I want to be the real fact machine.
What we're doing, we're going back to straw manning.
Or the new fact machine. The new fact machine works too.
Yes, it's where you actually don't really address the point.
This is where he tried to say I was strawmanning, and then he tried to say about ad hominems when he didn't even know what those things meant. He was using the wrong definition. For someone who loves the dictionary, he had no idea what he actually was talking about.
Put out there and you try to resort to mockery.
I've never heard of that concept before.
Well, you should look it up. It covers a lot of your strategies. It's very obvious, actually. There's this whole list of things that people who don't actually...
Lainey said she takes care of everything around the house. Greg does the bare minimum. That's not very feminist of him.
have evidence on their side or who don't really have valid arguments, they start to distract people from the point and they resort to really childish things to try.
But that isn't what strawmanning is, Greg.
Strawmanning actually encompasses multiple debate strategies.
Usually when you take someone's argument and you misrepresent it and you argue against that misrepresentation.
No. Strawman encompasses many things.
Maybe it does, but that's the basic definition of strawman. I mean, I know you love the dictionary, Greg, so why don't you Google it?
Actually, I'm Googling the full description of strawman. But have you ever heard of ad hominem?
Ad what? Are you talking about adpocalypse again? I've heard you talk about that enough.
No. It's where you try to take someone's path and you have to invalidate most everything they say about an issue. It's like another...
So kind of like what you normally do.
Give me an example.
Well, social rapport, you took his past and then you tried to decide who Jacqueline Blaine could date.
And how did that turn out?
It may have turned out well, I don't know.
I was just fucking with him here.
Pay attention to drama. I have no interest in drama or meaningless things.
That was actually quite possibly the worst example you could have used. What I did was I told Jacqueline Gunn, hey, he's going to cheat on you. So that was a really bad example.
It was a bad example.
It was a really bad example, yeah.
Yeah.
See, well, I was saying that
Yeah, I know what you're saying. Who at Manova?
you're using someone's past as if it's invalid and irrelevant to what's going on now. And you're like, well, you use social repose, and it actually was relevant to what was going to happen in the future and did happen in the future. So you're way off there.
And your point is?
My point is that you had a very invalid point when you referenced social repose.
Do you even know what the point was?
Yeah, I do. Actually, I was bringing up how people use ad hominem to invalidate or try and validate.
Yeah, I think he is.
Bringing up their past as if it has any relevance to
But
what they're doing.
that is what an ad hominem is.
It is, actually.
It is. It is.
Now.
And then he pulled up a wiki.
No, I'm not. I'm looking at. Okay, so ad hominem is you attack your opponent's character or personal traits and intent
Yeah,
to
so basically
undermine
insults.
their argument. No, you attack your opponent's character. Okay.
Yeah, insults.
Yeah. Well, character.
Greg, you're a terrible feminist. You abuse. You're a rapist.
All right. Ad hominem
Ad
attacks
hominem.
in the form of overly attacking somebody or more subtly casting doubt on their character or personal attributes as a way to discredit their argument. The result of ad hominem attack can be to undermine someone's case without actually having to engage in it.
So what I just said then.
Well, it's a distraction from the actual point that's being discussed. Like for instance, bringing up someone's past or whatever, or doing numerous things that you've done, which is like very confusing. It's like you take yourself to a dead end and you don't realize you just walked right into it.
Walk into what?
A dead end. Social repose. You walked yourself right into a dead end when you tried to use that as an example. Social repose was a terrible example.
I don't see any dead ends. I'm not walking anywhere.
If you're taking saying literal thing is actually an analogy or a.
I love how he's actually trying to explain.
Yeah.
He thought it was serious. Oh, I can't deal with this.
Metaphor for what you're doing. So to
Define
translate, you're putting yourself in a position of
Define
Could
analogy.
you define analogy?
Anyway, did you have anything that bothered you about feminism other than what we've already discussed?
Well, yeah, I mean, there's the fact that most of them are all man-haters. Blue-hair fat.
Well, actually, I think most of them are married to men.
No, most of them are lesbians.
A lot of them.
I mean, lesbianism is real. It's basically a disease. I mean,
Do you
it's
have
the
any?
only
Is it equal lesbian? Oh my god.
women who have given up on men.
Oh my
Do you have
god.
any examples? Like, do you have any statistics or anything to back up that most feminists are lesbians?
Do you have any examples? It's
Yes,
pretty
do
easy.
you
Go
have
speak to
any
a feminist.
evidence whatsoever to back up this accusation?
Go speak to some feminists and know exactly what I mean.
Well, I'm a feminist. My spouse is a feminist.
You're not a feminist. We already established this.
I wonder what he was Googling at this point, because you can clearly see he's Googling something.
Greg, you can't be feminist. They don't want you.
Barack Obama. I could be a member.
Barack Obama, not a feminist.
I could be a member of the PlayStation Network just because they don't want me doesn't make me any less a member of.
Yeah, it would, because if the PlayStation network didn't want you, they would just ban you. How'd you like that?
PlayStation Network. See how your point isn't exactly relevant?
That isn't the same thing at all.
I could be a Christian. Okay, I could say I believe in God. And that's
So you're a Christian.
That is basically the average Onision song. I like toast. Toast, toast, toast. I like toast. Toast, toast, toast. And that's probably the exact tune that he would use as well.
Christian now.
That's an ideology. No, I'm not. I'm saying it could be.
And you guys can have that for free. Please download that. Use it as your ringtone.
I thought you hated it. You're welcome, Christianity.
It was a hypothetical.
Oh, now it makes sense.
It's like you're intentionally underthinking what I'm saying just so you can seem like, condescending.
Maybe now he's on to something.
What
I
you're
don't
doing.
even know what condescending means. Greg, I'm genuinely confused.
This is one of my favorite lines to use. I've done this to people on YouNow before. I just go into random people's streams in the past. I've got a couple of videos on my channel of doing it, and I just laugh at them and just say really silly things, and they get so confused, and they're like, "Are you just trolling me?" And then I go on this little spiel.
I wish I was acting. I wish I was trolling you right now, but I'm genuinely confused. I'm like in this little conundrum in my head. I don't know what's going on here.
You should rewatch this when it's over and like pause so you can have time to think about what's actually being said. Because
I'm watching it right now, Greg. Are you happy now?
it seems like you're like a little bit slow to register what I'm saying.
Did you just call me slow?
The words that come out afterward, it's like you didn't think about it at all.
What words?
The words that I'm saying right now. See, that's an example. The words that I'm saying out of my mouth right now.
I thought you were talking about what I said. I mean, I never got to ask you this question. I mean, this is a bit off topic, but so why did you kill Reptar?
Reptar. Oh my god.
Years ago.
Yeah, I mean, I remember some guy at 27, he made a video about how it was your fault, and you were trying to prove a point to him.
Yeah, I proved a very valid point, and then he said it doesn't apply to pets. Okay, so there is.
So you just admitted you killed the turtle to prove a point to him?
No, that's not at all what I said.
That is basically what you just said.
You could say that's what I said, but that's not what I said. Can you rephrase exactly what I said, or just say it as it was said, and isolate the exact point where there was some kind of admission of doing such an atrocious?
He actually did basically just say that. I think he unintentionally admitted that he killed it to prove a point, but he actually did just say that he killed it to prove a point. So I don't know what he's actually trying to argue here. He should have just said, "Oops, I misspoke," and we would have moved on. Yeah. Rag, you should grab your sloth onesie and make an Onision song parody. The sloth onesie alone would make funny due to the effortless creation of the song. I'd maybe need to get another onesie and do that, because at the moment I'm only using my sloth onesie for my Worse Than a Child Molester series. I'm keeping it exclusive to that. I think if I use it outside of that series, it'll kind of lose the effect it has in there. I want it to keep it as a unique thing to that. But yeah, maybe I should get some sort of... I have a bacon costume, which you can see in some of my other videos. I've worn it on Una before as well. And there was a time where I actually did consider doing a parody to the I'm a Banana, and I would be bacon. But I don't know how you would... There isn't really the same thing. I'm bacon doesn't really have the same ring to it, so... and there was a guy, I can't remember, I think it was Outback Zach. He once... I don't think he makes videos anymore, but he once made a video called I'm a Meat Eater, and it was like a big hot dog or something he was wearing. So I feel like I'd have been copying that, so I didn't really want to do that.
Killing a turtle to make a point to some hater. You can't?
You got 2 points there, Greg. 2 points.
Alright, so I was trying to protect my turtle from the dogs. Obviously a terrible job. It was like 80 degrees out, 85, 80 degrees out, something like that. And the dogs could get into the plastic tub easily if I flipped it up on its back. So it was exposed. I could easily flip it over, kill the turtle. So I was like, well, I'll just flip this giant tub. Comparatively to the turtle, it was very big. I'll flip the tub on top of the turtle so the turtle's protected from the dogs. The dogs couldn't at all flip the tub over at that point. So I walk away and I come back and the turtle's dead, because I didn't properly understand the effects that the sun has on a plastic container and how it would rapidly suck the oxygen out of it, thus starving the turtle of air.
Just so you guys know, there is the video is currently at 52 minutes, and it goes to 1 hour and 2 minutes, so there should be just under 10 minutes left.
Air.
Wait, OMG, Greg is here? How did this happen? What? Greg is here? What are you talking about?
What?
The turtle's basking temperature is like 97 degrees. People say that the turtle baked, but there's no way, because it was a desert type turtle in the sense that it loves really hot temperatures. So it was an accidental death, and animal control came over, and when they came over, they said, well, if I judged you for this, I have to judge myself for shooting the animal control person shot 3 birds earlier that day. And what the haters would do is they would say, oh, you're a terrible person for accidentally killing your turtle. And what I counter said to them was, you guys literally turn animals much more intelligent than my turtle intentionally into poop daily. Okay, you turn cows, pigs, chickens, whatever. And
See, I think the thing is, he keeps forgetting. He keeps talking about how this turtle, it basks at like 90 or something, whereas it was only what was it, 80 out or something that day, but he's forgetting when you put a plastic tub over something, it's going to make it very, very, very warm. It's not just as simple as the temperature outside. It's going to suddenly start radiating it. That's why, like, if you leave your dog in the back of a car, it's going to die, because it doesn't matter how hot it is outside the car. Inside the car is going to get even hotter because it's going to contain all that heat, and it'll cook. Oops.
So you guys are judging me, who never eats meat, for accidentally killing one animal when you literally kill hundreds, if not thousands, every single year.
But I literally don't kill the animals. Sure, my diet may encourage the animals to be killed, but I'm not actually personally killing the animals, so I'm not literally killing anything, Greg.
And that's when the hater was like, well, it was a pet, as if a pet has... Yes, I say that.
He wasn't too amused by my shirt, was he?
Do you ever think, you mentioned your weight, do you ever think that has something to do with our diet differences?
Wait, what were you wearing?
Medium rare.
Oh.
I'm being quite honest.
I forgot I'm not screen sharing anymore.
Yeah.
I not be too heavy, and I stopped doing any exercise.
Well, I don't do any exercise either.
Probably still, I don't know. I mean, I think my diet's probably my diet is pretty bad. To be honest. But
So
I used to burn off.
So I mean, you're celebrating being mean while I'm talking about this, but you just admitted that you have an inferior diet.
Well, yes. I mean, I've no qualms with the actual diet, I suppose. I mean,
okay.
I mean, I agree that it's maybe morally better. Thing is,
do you have any more questions about? Do you have any more questions about a turtle that died 5 or 4 or something like that years ago?
You had to bring up the amount of years ago it was.
I think he was triggered by that. I feel like he thinks about it on a daily basis.
Yeah, he's definitely quite upset that I brought that up.
I mean, it wasn't a female, so it's supposed to.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw him say that. I saw it. I was like, did he really just say that? Because Vegan Games was like, how often do you work out? Do you lift weights? And Greg was like, no, I don't work out. Just sex, dude.
Like feminism, but if it was a female.
I don't know what the gender was.
So it could have been a female, and you killed a female turtle. That was very feminist of you.
Yeah, I don't take his bait.
Vegetarian turtle, buddy.
Any other issues that you had with feminism that you wanted to talk about? Like any feminist issues? Like you established that you believe that all feminists hate men, even though many feminists are men.
No, they're not. We established that there are no I mean, have you met any male feminists? Male feminists are some of the worst people in the world.
Established this.
Benedict Cumberbatch is a terrible guy.
Oh yeah. I mean, he's a great actor, but outside of that, he's a horrible guy. I mean, you'll see reports all over the place of him being nasty to his fans.
Oh yeah.
Is that true?
Will Smith a terrible guy?
Will Smith?
Yeah, he's a feminist.
I went to college with a guy called Will Smith.
I really did. I went to my real name's Ryan Reynolds, so obviously there's the actor. And when I was at college, we went to a party, and it was like this guy's flat, and we went in and we like tapped on his door, and we went in, and he's like, "Hi, my name's Will Smith," and I went, "Well, hi, I'm Ryan Reynolds," and he thought I was taking the piss. He thought I was just making fun of him, but that was actually his name, because obviously people like, "Oh my God, it's Will Smith," and people to me, "Oh my God, it's Ryan Reynolds," and yeah, he clearly thought I was making fun of him. He didn't believe me. I actually had to show him ID for him to believe me. He's like, "No, your name's not this." I'm like, "You of all people should believe me. You're someone who has a name that people don't normally believe, just like me. We've been through the same things, I'm sure." And no, he didn't believe me. He thought I was making fun of him. But yeah, true story.
That does not answer the question.
So we were partying, Ryan Reynolds and Will Smith together.
Well, I don't know any other.
And no, the Will Smith was not black.
Will Smith, I don't know who you're talking.
Okay, so the guy who plays the Incredible Hulk, is he a terrible guy? Are you gonna boycott his movies because he's a feminist? Huh?
What's his name?
I don't know. I don't care.
I don't care, but you made the point anyway. You clearly do care. You just don't know. Fact machine, where are your facts? Whip out your facts.
You don't know, fact machine. Where are your facts? Whip out your facts. I think that kind of summarizes the whole thing.
You know, but you know who the Hulk is my point.
I'm surprised you don't come in here with a dictionary in one hand and a little sign in the other that says fact machine on it.
That is a good use of mockery to distract people from what actually matters.
Okay,
Anyway, his
what
name is Mark.
matters?
His name is Mark Ruffalo.
So
Mark Ruffalo,
this guy being called Mark Ruffalo is what matters.
he's a feminist, and you're saying that
Well, he's,
feminists don't exist.
okay, I've seen him on Twitter before, and he seems like a real piece of work.
Okay, so you know the guy who plays Kirk from Glee?
I don't watch Glee because I'm not a homosexual man or a woman.
That's very homophobic of you to say.
Back in my day, we
How
used
about the main character from Mad Men? You're just running out of witty things to say.
What about? I mean, you just said what about?
He's a feminist.
Okay, I mean, just because someone's a feminist doesn't mean I don't like their acting. I mean, I can hate them as a person.
And still.
And also, just because someone's a feminist doesn't mean I actually hate them either. I mean, I can disagree with someone and what their beliefs are. I don't need to hate them. I'm not like Onision, where I won't talk to someone for 6 months because they are a feminist or aren't a feminist.
Why are you giving me names? I don't.
Well, I'm just establishing that there's a lot of men who are feminists who are actually respectable.
I mean, I think it's important to notice as well, I'm not Googling anything. I think I already mentioned this. But he's Googling things non-stop.
Okay, so is this some kind of gotcha moment or something?
Yeah, it is. Actually.
Okay, and what did you get me on?
He was very happy with himself here.
That you seriously have no idea about what feminism really is and who can.
Yeah, he's the whole basis here is that I'm doing to him what he normally does to everyone else. And he's not very good at dealing with that.
Says the great feminist Onision.
How about Ryan Gosling? You like Ryan Gosling?
Not really.
I love Ryan Gosling. I think he's great. He's also a feminist.
Says who?
Did you see how he tried to get me there? He was like, "Do you like Ryan Gosling?" And he was hoping I said yes, so he could be like, "Oh, well, he's a feminist. Gotcha."
Like, where else?
Says Google. So because Google says he's a feminist, he's a feminist.
You sound so patronizing there.
Well, yeah, that's my intention. I try to be as patronizing as possible at all times. The name of the game.
Find quotes of him talking about being a feminist.
But he's not really a feminist. He just pretended a feminist.
See, you have no evidence to back that up. You're just saying things.
Well, you have no evidence to back it up the other way.
Yes, I do. Google Ryan Gosling feminist, and you'll see reports of Ryan Gosling being a feminist.
He was so frustrated there. He's speaking. I just paused it at a very good moment. He's like looking intensely at me, and I'm like rolling my eyes. I actually need to screenshot this. I'm linking this screenshot in the chat because this is a perfect screenshot.
You better save that.
Says who?
How far in?
There's more people than you're saying the opposite. That's for sure.
Yeah, we're at 57 minutes and 45 seconds out of an hour and 2 minutes, so about 5 minutes left.
We have more evidence.
Just
than
because
what
the
you
majority,
what does Ryan Gosling say?
I mean, aren't the majority of the people in your country grown men and women who still believe in angels? I mean,
Catholicism, you're part of the. What are you talking about?
I don't know. What are you talking about?
What you just said made no sense. You guys are basically the inventor of the Christian religion, and then you just like try to invalidate my country, even though we're established.
See, I didn't try to invalidate his country. I was just making a point. I was making a very simple point that the majority of people are not always correct about things. I was just trying to make the point that it's very unlikely the angels are real. Yet the majority of people in his country, to my understanding, believe the angels are real. And that was all I was trying to say. I was trying to say the majority. And now he's bringing up how I'm trying to invalidate his country. I'm like, what are you talking about?
Your general area.
Next question.
There's no real questions here. Not left. I'm just like basically riding you out now.
You're wanting me out?
All right, so I'm going to try. Oh, here we go. It says Ryan Gosling's feminist comments might have not been so feminist.
But some have argued that his remarks may not be the best for advancing women in general.
In an interview with Britain's
Oh, so feministism, right, Graham?
better than men, they are stronger, more evolved. And although some love to
Hold on, let's hear
Look
what
at that.
let's hear.
A man who's feminist who just so happens to be a man. He's a beta. You know that, Greg?
Okay, so I just proved you wrong, actually, and you're trying to jump to a different point.
Actually, I think Greg does like me for the most part. He's very mixed on me. He can't tell if I'm being serious or not, but he's always said that he liked me because he thought it was very funny. He's always said it was
I
funny.
think he says it later on in the video.
Yeah, he says it in this video as well in the next couple of minutes. There's only 3 minutes left, but he said it in a few other streams we've done together as well. He always says that he finds me funny.
What I proved is you kept saying that there's no proof that Ryan Gosling is a feminist, so I just proved that he is.
Okay, you gave me the proof.
Okay.
You gave me the proof on that. Okay.
It totally makes sense that the people he's attracted to, he thinks are better. Because he's attracted to them.
Why did he cheat on his girlfriend if he's really a feminist, though?
Did you just read that from the comments?
Of course not.
You just read that
Of
from
course not.
I wish I had laughed, or I would have went with it, but I laughed. I laughed, so I had to say, yeah, I did.
Is that your source of information, the comments?
Well, I mean, it doesn't mean it's false just because someone said one thing in the comments. Like, someone was like, tell him this about cheating. So I was like, okay.
Well, I mean,
I'm pretty much the only one who goes at Greg without making videos in a way that if he doesn't change, it's going to affect your life. Yeah, I really don't care. The only the only part, the only time I was ever actually genuinely pissed off at him was during the Billy thing, but that was because I knew Billy, and it was at the same time, and he had actually like made her block me and stuff. I found out at a later time, so that like really annoyed me. Most of the time I don't really care because I don't know the people he's involved with or whatever, but if you know whoever it is, and even I don't know Billy very well, but even if it's someone you've met a couple of times or you've talked to a couple of times or you're briefly friends with, people always you feel more involved a bit, so that'll get you a bit more or annoy you a bit more. But after a while it's like, oh, okay, I still didn't really care. I'm like, the drama was stupid. But for the most part, I really don't care. But if you watch that one video I made about that stuff, I wasn't. Normally, I make a lot of jokes or I'm quite sarcastic and stuff. That one video, I didn't really. I wasn't really sarcastic or anything. I just kind of gave him a bit of a hard time. But yeah, at the end of the stream, I'll take any last extra questions and stuff. Yeah, so I'll talk about Mike or whatever then. It's almost done.
the commenters, some of them are good
You
people.
realize that a lot of the people watching this are like 10-year-olds just belting out random thoughts, right?
Do you hear that though? Do you know how often he says, my viewers aren't all 10-year-olds, my viewers aren't children, my viewers are mainly people aged between 19 and 25 or whatever. Look at my analytics. Which is obviously nonsense because most children don't have a children's account because certain videos are age restricted. It's not hard to just click 18 even when you're not 18, Greg. But yeah, but now he's talking about everyone in the chat's only a 10-year-old. Well, why don't you normally say that? Normally you're saying the opposite.
I'm sure you love that.
I mean, you clearly do because you say things over and over again that you don't have any evidence to back up, and then you'll distract. You'll distract. See, that's exactly what I'm talking about. When you say "okay, fact machine,"
Was
that's
that ad hominem?
Yes, it literally was. If you want to take part in actual like debate, then you don't resort to mockery of the other side for the sake of distracting from the point they just made.
If you want to have an actual debate, Greg, about a subject like this.
How about this? If you want to make actual points regarding the issue that you're defending, you probably don't want to resort to mockery.
Says who?
Says the guy who's learned from his own mistakes in said debates.
Have you done like professional debates? Have you been at?
No, I've resorted to mockery in the past, and that does not help you.
I was on TV once. I was in a debate show.
Well, it's been an hour, so we should wrap this up, dude. First of all, I really appreciate your humor. Like, even though I don't get it, I'm amused by it. So I appreciate you as a person because throughout our 7 years of knowing each other, it's always been amusing. So I just want to thank you for being Such a strange fellow.
I'm not a strange fellow, but okay, we can wrap this up. I just want to say that February 10th, I've got a plane to catch, and I'm summoning you to carry my luggage. Kaboom.
Oh, that's it. I was actually thinking he was going to
Yep,
promote it.
and that was it. I left. So, if anyone has any questions for me now we've been through all that, now is the time to ask them. I'll answer whatever questions you want for the next.
Kaboom.
Yeah, kaboom. For the next couple of minutes, I will take questions if anyone has any specific things they want me to address. Yeah, it was nice that he thanked me.
Chirp, chirp.
Yeah, this has been a change for me. I don't normally do these sort of streams. I do have a podcast, so I do live streams for that. I've only had 15 episodes though, and I don't do it very often. But yeah, I like this thing, doing it a bit more long form, a bit longer, just talking to the chat. When I do podcasts, I don't really talk to the chat very much. How do you feel when Greg called it Mike at the end of the debate? Well, I don't know. I think it's a bit. I don't think you should be calling him out when he's not agreeing to Mike's terms. I mean, if a guy doesn't want to do it, he doesn't want to do it. You stop and you move on. I mean, it's not even Mike doesn't want to do it. It's just Mike has certain conditions, so it's Greg's choice to then meet those conditions or shut up and forget about it. And if Greg has conditions, if Mike puts his conditions forward, it's that simple. You meet the conditions or you don't. And if you're not going to do it, then just shut up and move on. Don't try and bully the guy. Don't try and force him to try and do it with your criticism and rants and whatever. Maybe one time, maybe he will eventually debate you, but I don't know. I don't really have many thoughts on Mike. Yeah, Mike's not really. From what I saw, Mike doesn't seem too fussed. Although I think he's more fussed than he lets on. I don't know anything really about Mike. I don't know much about him. I don't have any ill will against him. I don't dislike him. But from the videos I saw, he keeps making a big deal. I don't really care if I debate him or not. I'm not actually arsed, but I don't believe that. I don't think he doesn't. I don't think. I think he would like to debate Onision. I just think he wants it on his own terms. I don't think he would be making a video talking about people who don't care about making having a debate. They wouldn't be making a video saying that they don't care about making a debate. If that makes sense. So he might not really care, but I think he does care a bit, and that's not a bad thing. Like, I wouldn't, if I didn't care about anything Onision did, if I didn't care about having a debate with him or anything like that, I just wouldn't talk about it. Yeah, I don't even think Onision's dying from his attention. I know Mike isn't dying for his attention, and I don't think Onision's dying for his attention either. I think it's yeah, I can understand that. Mike, the dying for attention thing, I don't really agree with that in either way. But yeah, Mike did say that he's trying to focus on moving away from Onision. I think Joy said that at one point. I don't know, but yeah, I tried to move away from Onision more as well because I used to have a lot of Onision related videos. So I thought it's a boring topic eventually when you talk about it too much. Yeah. Yeah, for months he wanted to debate Onision and get his attention. I agree. I think Mike is bothered. He's maybe not really bothered. He doesn't care that much, but he certainly cares to an extent. I don't think it's very fair to say he couldn't deal with Mike's thing where people he has debated that I think everyone's had the same points who have debated Greg. And from what I've seen, I do think that some of the people who debated him were probably better debaters than Mike might be. I don't know. I don't know enough about Mike, so maybe I'm just making an assumption, but yeah, most of the debates have been shit shows. And yeah, Mike wants to keep the debate equal. I completely understand where Mike's coming from on that. The only thing I disagree with Mike on is I don't think he actually. I don't think he doesn't care like he says he doesn't. Normally, when people say I don't care, and they're talking about that same subject still for like 20 minutes, like he was talking about the debate for 20 minutes in a video he put up today or yesterday, and it's like, okay, well, you clearly care to some extent. And as I said, that's not me bashing the guy. I don't think that's a bad thing. Yes, Hannah, I'm still alive. We're just wrapping up.
Hi, Hannah.
We're just wrapping up now. Okay, so I'm not sure. Personally, I think the best way to deal with Onision would be for everyone to just completely ignore him, because that would actually kill his channel. I mean, at this point, half of his views are from people who hate him. His like to dislike ratio has plummeted. He is getting almost as many dislikes as likes these days. His views have gone right down. Half of his views are probably people who hate him. I think that if the people who didn't like him were to just completely ignore him for good, I think he would probably have to rethink the entire YouTube thing. He'd still have his patrons, obviously, but his views would drop even more, which in turn would hurt him even more. I think people have been calling out his bullshit for a long time. I've been involved with Onision for 7 years. People have been doing it ever since I got involved. So I don't think it's ever gonna change, really. I don't think people calling him out anymore is going to change anything. I think people have called him out enough. I don't really think he needs called out anymore. It's the same arguments every time, and I honestly do think as well the worst is behind him. I don't think it can get any worse than some of the Shiloh stuff or some of the Laney stuff in the past, or the Billy stuff. That stuff was all terrible. I don't think it's going to get any worse than that. So I think the worst stuff is already out there for people to see. I don't think people need to keep going on about it. I think it's an unhealthy obsession some people have. If you really hate him, I think the best way is to just ignore him and let him die. Yeah, I mean, I like drama. I like it for entertainment, but when I call out Onision or anything like that, I'm not calling him out to expose him. I'm not calling him out for anyone else's benefit. I'm calling him out purely for my benefit. I'm calling him out because I enjoy calling him out. I'm calling him out because I like the drama. I like the attention. I'm not calling him out to help other people or anything like that. I don't really know anything about Vix. I can't really talk about that. I've seen little rumblings here and there, but I really don't know anything about Vix, so I can't comment on that. Yeah, they're not going to sub to Jamie Pine. Instead, just watch my video called "Is Jamie Pine Worse Than a Child Molester?" It's one of my most recent videos. If you watch that, then you can decide if you want to sub to Jamie Pine. Oh, okay. I've done enough talking. I'd like to shut up now. So, I'll maybe do some more of these streams in the future that aren't podcasts, because I do like just talking to the chat for a bit. So, stay alerted to my Twitter. That's where I do announce most things. I say what I'm going to be doing. There and on Patreon are the two places I post what I'm going to be doing. Also on my YouTube, I'll schedule up live streams often, so just keep an eye out. I'm quite active and I'm very reachable at all forms of social media. Yeah, I heard something about that Vic stuff he did. Someone was clearly trying to get in there or something. I don't know the full thing. Xenia Roar says, "You are dumb." Roar. Okay. I don't like people deleting their tweets. To be honest, I don't delete my own tweets. I don't like deleting tweets. I don't like deleting things, but if he wants to delete his tweets, that's his choice. Personally, I'm not a fan of it. What video did you watch? Xenia Roar? Please don't roast me. Okay, maybe I'll just roar. I don't know. Okay, can I stop now? Are you guys done? Onion boys. Okay. tweet me at ragreynolds and tell me what you're talking about, because I'm ending the stream. Until next time,
Yay.
you are all welcome, society.